Yo, 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 what up, chat? How's it going, guys? Good morning. Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Yo, Asylum. Goofer, by the way, thank you for being first chatter today. How's it going? Asylum, thank you for the 43 months, dude. Thank you so much for the 43 months, brother. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Nesh, thank you for the compliment on the backgrounds, my dude. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. What up, Patoda? How's it going? I just saw you 5 seconds ago. Yo, atomics are cool. How's it going? Hello, hello. Morning, morning. Yes, I finally see this amazing opening scene. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. Yo, good evening. How's it going? Hello. Hello. Happy Friday, everyone. How are we? I hope you guys are having a good Friday. Oh, yeah, that's right. My thing's over here now. What up, Oops? How's it going? Art is, again, I don't really know if that's exactly how you say your name, but hello. Happy it's Friday, dude. Me too. Me too. I need to have, like, since coming back from TwitchCon, I haven't really been able to have a productive weekend yet. And I need one. Like, I need, like, one just solid productive weekend to kind of catch back up with everything. So I'm hoping that it's this weekend. But I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are having a good Friday. Queen Julia, yeah, same, yeah, exactly. Hey, Julia, how's it going? Hello, hello. Oh, it's like yelling A from Art, basically 2 A's rather than one. Oh, okay, nice. Good afternoon. How do you monitor your CPU? Oh, it's a program called Bottom. Yeah, it's a program called Bottom. But welcome, everybody. Welcome. I hope you guys are good. Again, I don't know exactly what we're doing today. I put something into today. I said, what did I say? I said various things to catch up on. Yes, that's right. I said various things. I was back to work right away. Worst mistake. Yeah, me too. Wasn't ready for it. I think I streamed. No, I took that week off. I took that week off. So I had to, I feel you. I hope you're doing well though. I hope you are doing well. Oh, Jesus. Okay, back chair was not locked. Wasn't ready for that. We're good now, though. But yeah, welcome everybody. I hope we are well. So to catch up on what's been going on, right? The past couple days, we've really been focusing on what I've been doing at work, right? Getting this new front-end deployment stuff set up, and yeah, like just figuring all that stuff out. Yeah, you're welcome. Of course, you're welcome. But an interesting thing happened yesterday where I was talking with a coworker about the project, and we got to a point where
Hello
just kind of Nah, thank you for the follow, appreciate you. Nah, Ruta, I don't understand your name, but hello. Anyways, energy Jameen, you guys help me, okay? I don't know how to say your names. But anyways, we had an interesting conversation yesterday, and the TLDRs is like where we got with what we had tried, right? Like if we go back to our sweet chart, remember we always Lucifer, good TV show. If we go back to our charts, right? Let's talk about it a little. Let's look at our chart for a second, and I'll sip my coffee because I'm very thirsty, and I need caffeine nourishment. Please load. Thank you. Cool. Okay. So if we go here, there we go. We build all this out, right? We set up a CDN, right? We set up our record in Cloudflare. We set up our distribution with AWS, and then we set up our bucket. All that was taken care of. And then we even went as far as like looking at like some type of self-hosted proxy. And we tried a few things, and we found something that worked. So right now, basically, after we did that discovery, I took it to work, and I basically shared it with my team. And the TLDRs is like, production's good. We're fine with the implementation on production and how that's set up. So there's really not much more that needs to be investigated with that. Private access, internal access is still something like we need to figure out, but it's like it's more of a technical solution now. Like then like what are we gonna do, right? Like my job is just to say like what are we gonna do as a DevOps engineer, right? how are we going to do it? And then, the engineer themselves like figures it out, or whoever gets the work actually is the one who builds it, right? So I don't say like, oh, you're going to use this service or this service unless there's a specific reason for it, right? Again, if I say something like CloudFront or Cloudflare, that's because we have opinionations around things. We use AWS, we use Cloudflare. So those are things that like make sense, right? S3 bucket proxy self-hosted, it's just a random name. It could be whatever, right? So yeah, we kind of all agreed on that. Like it looked good. We felt, pretty good about it. There is still a question, which is a fair question, and I would love to know your guys' opinion on this, of does it make sense to proxy internally, or should we still just say, screw it, all of our front ends will be public, whether it be dev, staging, production, whatever, and then they get replicated, but they get replicated the same way, right? So that's the benefit, or the oh dude, I keep forgetting that I have the new by the way, chat, just so you know, and if you don't remember, back in the day we used to have the keyboard cam. I brought it back. Yeah, so I did bring the keyboard cam back. The only reason why I was able to do that is because my phone broke during TwitchCon. And so I got this one replaced, or my other phone replaced, and now we can use it as a camera. So that's why the keyboard camera is back. Internal proxy better but harder. So listen, again, I don't disagree, and that's something that we're still trying to decide on. I have actually seen more commonly than not people putting it publicly and just calling it a day, right? And just relying on things like making sure their application is secure and stuff like that. Not saying that that's the best solution, but I am saying that is still something that is very possible and an option. But put it publicly and randomize the URL. Yeah, the good old security through obscurity, right? You might be the reason for my insomnia. My bad. How's it going, Codface dude? And passing remarks, hello as well. Welcome again, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. So yeah, we're kind of in the scenario of like, again, production, solve for, not really worried about it. Pre-production, we have two options on the table. We're either going to do the CDN solution so that the infrastructure is the same everywhere. And that's the real goal of doing it that way, is making sure that the infrastructure is the same everywhere. So that like if a user has to deal with invalidations or something, like actually having it on the CDN and replicated does make sense, even kind of from a dev perspective, because it does, allow the developer to experience their deployment as if it was on the same infrastructure, in production. So that, it's a seriously solid argument. It does, again, make things a bit trickier because we have to be more limiting with like, what we can do. Outside of that, hey Goofer, how's it going? Hello. Outside of that, like I said, there's really not much else to do on the pre-production side. Production solve, pre-production, we have two options. We're going to pick one of them. The other thing that was really kind of brought up and like, I need to be clear, I'm about to literally school your on some of this right now, because like I did not realize how misconceived this is. Showing off the moon lander, yeah, man. Well, like I was just saying, so Scotty, you probably just got here. Hi, Scotty. My phone broke during TwitchCon, and so when it broke, I got a new one. But when I got a new one, I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could use my old phone, which has a honestly pretty decent camera in it, as a keyboard camera for now, at least. Dog, we're rolling on a budget. Like, you guys think that this is like some high quality ass production. This camera right here, this camera is a 10-year-old camera that I had when I was a director and writer in LA, okay? This was not bought for this, okay? This camera right here, this guy, yeah, that's a cell phone. This one over here, cell phone. not the, we make it look a lot nicer than it actually is. So anyways, back to my tangent. What was I saying? Yeah, so I have a keyboard cam now. And it is nice to have the keyboard cam again. I did kind of miss it. I had to set it up so that you guys can't see it, so I could do stuff like that, because I don't want you guys to see my, putting in of typing stuff when I don't want you to. I had a split keyboard question for you. Is the Moonlander your favorite so far? I've been using the Kinesis Gaming one, and it's definitely better than my old normal mechanical one, but I keep thinking of the Ergo 360 or the Moonlander. The only expensive thing is the keyboard. The only expensive thing is pretty much, actually, the only expensive thing is the keyboard and the audio. Yeah, because, you know, we're streamers, so, like, we kind of want you to have a nice environment to listen to us, you know? I remember when we first started streaming, we were streaming through, like, our gaming headsets, and, like, no disrespect, we start everywhere, right? We all do. But I remember, like, we started out, you know, streaming through gaming headsets and stuff like that, and, like, sounded like we were on a helicopter. It was awesome. So it took us a while to get here. The audio, yeah, our audio was really bad back in the day. Abbott, how's it going, by the way? Hello. Happy Friday. So like I said, yeah. And like, I think it's really important what I explain to you next is something that like got brought up, but is also something that like has never really been even a conversation where I work. So it might be something worthwhile having where you work too. At least if you work in this, you know, field or whatever. So right now at Hippo, right, we deploy services into containers, right? That's the whole point of like taking the approach we're doing right now is we don't want to have basically processes running in the cloud serving front ends. We could just potentially have, you know, file servers doing it on CDNs and stuff like that. Like there's no need. Like, think about it. So I think like the bare minimum, like chat, everything comes down to cost, right? So AWS calculator, check this out, calculator, right? I think the bare minimum, like 200, like percent, you know, 25% of a core, I can't remember exactly what it is, ECS, is still like $15 a month, something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but like that's $15 a month for one front end. Right? No matter what. Or one container, realistically. Number of tasks. No, but this isn't what I want. Why is ECS not in here? That's confusing. This is just showing me Fargate. But like I should be able to do like container registry, Fargate, step functions, load balancing. What? I'm so confused. Search by location type. Search for ECS. Okay. I don't know what's going on right now. But anyways, again, it's like $15 or $12 a month basically if you provision what is like 0.25 of a core or 2.5. I can't remember what it is, but whatever. The lowest amount. So when you have like 100 of those things, they can start to add up, especially when you're like, you need EC2 for ECS. Really? EC2? Ugh. Why must they be so dumb? EC2. vCPUs. But this is vCPUs. On demand. That's what we want. This is just CPU. I don't know what they did with you used to be able to say like again, I don't know if it's Fargate. Let's see here. Yeah, no, I know. Here, we'll put it on Fargate for now. So, yeah, 0.25. So 0.25 CPU, right? For how many hours? Average duration, 1 minute per day. So we're going to say 1 day. Look at that, $10. So there you go. See? Bam. So on Fargate, oh God, I just hit my mic. On Fargate, if you wanted to run a fraction of a CPU, 0.25, right, for a full day, and one of those per day, that's $10 a day. Sorry, I was wrong. It wasn't $10 a month. It was $10 a day. Why do you have a one-handed keyboard? Are you a gamer? What? There's two. It's a split keyboard, homie. There's another part right here. Hello. My right hand is rubbing the keyboard. Oh, the question that somebody had. Oh, is it the monthly cost? You are right. It is the monthly cost. My bad. I read that wrong. My bad, chat. My bad. Hold on. So let me answer the Moonlander versus Kinesis question really quick because I got sidetracked. Sorry. I just like, yeah, I know. I'm a terrible engineer. It's fine. I don't even know why you're here right now. Okay. I get it. I read it wrong. It's not like I've been doing this for ever. Anyways, Moonlander versus Kinesis. I think they're both really good companies. I think ErgoDocs and Kinesis make really good products. I got the Moonlander first because I am somebody who likes aesthetics a little bit more than my wrists. And I will be honest with that, okay, chat? I will be honest. I would rather have my keyboard glow, all right, than potentially have a little bit more concavity or something like that. So, like, for me, when I bought the Moonlander, it wasn't just about getting a split keyboard. It was about getting a split keyboard that, like, I aesthetically liked and enjoy using. And I just thought I was going to have a lot of fun with. The Moonlander has, like, a lot of extensibility. The programmatic, like, the ways that you can program with it. So, for example, if you do keyboard and chat, you can actually see my layout. And if you, like, look at my layout, like, there's a lot of things you can do with it. And I'm still, like, I've had it almost for 2 years, and I'm still learning, like, new shit. But, for example, right, like, I have like macros on my keyboard that I can record as well. So for example, if I wanted to do, and I'm still like, again, I just added these, so I'm still getting comfortable with this. But if I was like, hit this and say, this is a macro, right? And then hit that, now I can just be like, and then I can just like macro it out like crazy. And that's built into the keyboard, right? So like, there's a lot of really cool things like that. There's also like multi-layer tapping and things like that that are really neat. So for example, you'll see like escape and my Windows key are on top of each other. A big reason for that is because, and I talked about this before, I needed to move my Windows key to my home row because I was getting carpal tunnel where I had it before. And so one of the things that's really cool about the Moonlander, and again, I don't know if the Kinesis can do it. Maybe it can. I have no idea. However, with the Moonlander, you can do what's called like multi-stage keystrokes, where if you tap something, right, it acts as one key. But if you like press and hold it, it acts as a different key. And so like that's exactly what what this key does here is if I tap it, it just does escape. And the reason for that is because I program a lot and I need to hit escape a lot while I'm typing. And so you're going to see me do this like on my escape key all the time, right? But watch my pinky finger again. I say I want to also switch workspaces. If I just press and hold and then press 1, I can switch workspaces, right? So it's a multiple use key for me. Yo, Coder, what's up, dude? I'm sorry. You sound like a completely new person to me calling you Coder. Like I can't, it just feels weird. I feel like I have to call you Coder at this point. I feel like we have named you that. What's up, dude? Thank you for the 26 months, though, buddy. I appreciate that. So anyways, that's the long story short. That's why I bought the Moonlander. I will also say that the Kinesis 360 Advantage was not out yet when I had bought the Moonlander. The one that was out, which is, I'm sorry, I hate to put it this way, but the one that looks equivalent of a skateboard, because that's just like, that's what it looks like it to me, okay? It's huge. Was this one. And I know there are friends of ours who use it. Calm down. Okay. Calm down. Or did use it. However, again, I'm more about aesthetics, especially with my keyboard. And so walk in the 360, yeah, you could definitely kill somebody with that. You're not wrong. Yeah, you could take somebody out with that keyboard, which, hey, if you have like a serious, if you want to like use it as a defense thing, I get that. Like I can't really, like, these are just like little like nunchucks, you know what I mean? I can't really do anything with that. But yeah, the 360 Advantage does look really interesting to me. It's very similar to the Moonlander in the sense that it's a completely split keyboard. And it has its own separate pads essentially that you can kind of like, this is the benefit for me, right? This is the benefit for me. Quick fact, by the way, yes, that was the keyboard that the Kinesis Advantage was in the original Men in Black. They thought it looked so futuristic that it would look good in a futuristic, I guess, like office space, and so they put that in there. But anywho's, my monitor. Oh, my monitor's here. I think you just want to do. I think it's setup. Yeah, just look at setup. Oh, you know what? Actually, I don't know if that's in there, but I have an Asus. I have an Asus 144 hertz monitor. Yeah. Uh. Anyways, so okay, sorry. Finally, last thought on the Kinesis, whatever, Moonlander, whatever, just split keyboard thing in general. Honestly, I think the Kinesis is worth a shot. I think it's interesting. I think if you are trying to compare it to the Moonlander, I think it's a better comparison than comparing it against the Advantage. And so yeah, I don't think it's a bad keyboard at all. I definitely think it gives the Moonlander a serious run for its money. And at some point, I will probably get one to try it out. But yeah, all right, let me catch up with chat. Sorry guys. Sorry. Besides Moonlander and Kinesis, there are a lot of other custom keyboards for any taste. That's very true. Yeah, like you don't have to be restricted to the things that you see your streamer friends watch. Like, that's fair. Like I did look through a lot of keyboards. Honestly, I found the Moonlander on my own. It wasn't recommended to me. It was just something that I was like, I originally, actually what's funny is I found the Ergo docs and I was like, oh man, I just wish it looked a little bit cooler. And then I found the Moonlander and I was like, oh snap, this looks way cooler. And so that's why I got the Moonlander. But yeah, like, yeah, do your research. I definitely think like being a part of keyboard communities is a big thing. What do I usually have is my macros. Honestly, this is going to sound terrible, but like my password. I will put my password and my macros on my keyboard often just so I don't have to type it. It's not a good thing to do. Don't do that. Don't be like me, okay? Don't put your password and your macros on your keyboard. But it does make it a lot easier to, log in when you really don't care. Anywho, my favorite tap dance is control when hold, escape when tap. Control when hold, escape. That's a good one. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? We don't really like press and hold the escape key. It's something we more tap a lot. And that's why I think it made, a lot of sense to map it that way. I love my Moonlander, but it's definitely broke me. I hate using my laptop keyboard now. Yo, Two Dorks TV, I'm in the same boat. I'm in the exact same boat. I like, it's not even about, being on a different keyboard or a different computer. It's just that I don't enjoy the keyboard experience. Call me Cotter Coder. Dog, that's confusing. I'm just gonna call you K, all right? PCB kit? What is this? Oh, neat. What is this? Oh, it's a 40%. Oh, geez, that's a little keyboard. The Tommy Lee Jones keyboard. Yep. Windows or Linux? I mean, I'm a gamer. I like playing video games. So I'm kind of forced to Windows. Like, I know you probably think this is Linux, but shabam! It's not. It's actually Windows. Gotcha. Yeah, I make all of my stuff run in VM, so I have to run Windows, dude. I want to play video games, and I'm a streamer. And I know there's people out there who stream on Linux and whatever, but like, hey, I like my time too, so hello there. It just works on Windows, so practicality is pretty important for us too. But yeah, Jay Casimiro, I basically just have the Asus 144 hertz monitor, which is like the 1080p 144. It's nice. I like it. I've had it for a while. I bought it when I rebuilt my computer, actually. Asking since my boss forces me to switch to Linux. I mean, if it's work related, there's a very solid chance that Linux makes more sense, right? Like a lot of people, when you go to companies, a lot of different companies will be like, oh, you can do whatever you want, or, oh, we want you on all, like, I have to run on Macs. Like, I have to run on Macs. I can't even run VMs for work anymore. They were like, yeah, no, we noticed that you did that, so we're just not going to do that anymore. We're just not going to let you do that anymore. I was like, come on, bro, seriously? I've been doing this for, like, you've not known I've been doing this for, like, 6 to 9 months. Like, what's the difference now? It's a VM inside of the computer. I can use Linux. And they're like, yeah, I know, but our security software does it scans, blah, blah, with the flim flam. I'm just like, you know what? Whatever. So I have to use OS X at work. Yeah, let me go ahead and just break your whole workflow. Dude, I was so frustrated too. But hey, Nix saved the day. Honestly, Nix, shout out to Nix. Nix saved the day on that one, man. Yeah, being able to bring my whole dev environment and stuff. Did I just bleep myself? I don't know. What the you think? Do you think I just bleeped myself? Because I might have. Who knows? Nix Darwin. Yeah, Nix Darwin was really a life changer there. Or a game saver, I should say. Game saver? lifesaver, game changer. I think I just like dyslexia'd that. This is my current keyboard. Dude, if it's like a picture of a wiener, I'm just gonna ban you. I'm kidding. Oh dang, I like that. See, like I would love to build my own keyboard at some point. At some point. Jeez, words are not working for me today. This is nice. I like this a lot. Did you print this, or is this just like a custom made? I like that a lot. This is a bit more like the ergodocs. The ergodocs has got like that similar kind of design. Hey, that looks like my Razer Orb Weaver. What is that? Why does Razer have to have such like MMO style game names to their products? Why can't they just call it like Mouse 75? You guys notice that? Like all of Razer's products are ridiculously unrecognized, like undistinguishable compared to what they like. Yeah, I got an Orb Weaver. The fuck is that? Like what is that? Like what? It's all for the gamer bros. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It is. It's true. I used to be one. I know. I get it. I get it. I have one. I love bringing it around, but traveling is rough. I travel with my Moonlander. Yeah, I travel with my Moonlander. But yeah, I think it's at the end of the day, you're kind of at the force of your company. If your company wants you to run Linux, you got to run Linux, or Windows, you got to run Windows. Working in the middle somehow, again, by doing like a VM or something like that is nice. How many what do I know? How many inches do I know? What I forget what we're talking about. I lost the context of our conversation, Jay Casimiro. I know it means something else, but out of context, that makes sense. Oh, the monitor. It's it's like what? How many inches of what, dude? Okay, never mind. I just have a perverted mind. So the monitor. What is the monitor inches? Let me take a look here. Anywho's, hold on. Let me look that up for you. I don't even remember. I think it's a 27-inch monitor. I want to say it's a 27-inch. Yep, 27-inch. Here, I got the link for you, dude. I can give you the link right here. Boop. And you're gonna get an Amazon Smile link because I donate funds to charity. There you go. Yeah, that's my monitor link right there. That should work. Yeah, that's it right there. Sorry, I was slightly confused. You lose context when you're reading a bunch of different conversations at once. Which Kinesis? The Advantage 360 is probably the one that I would get. Yeah. We need a new, cheaper split ergo keyboard since I am poor. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Some of the nicer like ergo split keys are pretty much in the 200, 300 above ranges at least. Anything under $200 is like a Logitech or something like that. That's probably gonna be your best bang for your buck. A daytime stream that I can actually catch. What's up, Moodikins? How's it going? Hello. It's been a while. It's like having a sticky note of your password under your keyboard. Yeah. I mean, listen. If you don't know which key the macro key is, does it matter? Like, hey, who knows, man? Maybe, like you don't know which key it is. You know, it's still unsecure. Yeah. I can't use a regular keyboard for gaming after using keypads for so long. So what's actually really nice about the Moonlander is I can do this. So I can just like pop this off, move this whole pad just completely out of the way.
Hello there.
And then I can actually move my mouse pad like over and basically game with. So yeah, that's really nice too. I'm sure the Kinesis and other keyboards that are similar can probably do that too. But yeah, it's a nice thing about having a split. It'll you can kind of like game easier too. I want a Moonlander, but I really don't want to be waiting 3 weeks for it. Honestly, Abbott, I waited like 4 months for it. I was in one of the original rotations when it was like first going out. So yeah, like I waited. You have no sympathy for me on that one. I waited way longer than 3 weeks. Yeah, I waited way longer than 3 weeks. It's worth it. I think it's worth it. I don't know. You should, try it out yourself. But I personally think it's worth it. I used to usually bind caps lock to escape because I never use caps. That's fair. Yeah, a lot of people do that. I know a lot of people who do that instead, because they just don't use caps lock. I really wish Elgato would support Linux with their stuff. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, honestly, so if you guys don't know, we actually do have a wiki, and on our wiki, we have a article on how we do our streaming setup. If you guys are curious, all you have to do is go to technical design documents and then click on low latency. This one here, I'll just give you the link. I'll just give you the direct link to it. But this stream setup, or that basically shows you like how we set up our stream. You know, how, like the camera, I have to add the other camera now because I have a keyboard camera now. But yeah, like that's, like we feel you. We've tested a lot of this stuff out. At some point, we'll probably make a YouTube video on a lot of this for you guys. But we try and stay away from things that like lock us into, specific things we don't want to be locked into. How do you guys do things running smoothly on a VM? Anytime I try, it's a trash experience. Oh, somebody asked me early. Oh yeah, okay, I'm catching up with this now. Do I just have an uberly powerful computer? I do, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do. I have an i9 9900K, which is probably still one of the top CPUs on the market right now. I also have a 2080 Ti graphics card. I dropped a lot of money into this computer, but I did it purposely because I wanted, listen, I have had laptops with dual boot. I have had multiple separate computers. Like I have gone through so many iterations of development setups that like I can just assuredly guarantee you, if you spend the extra money to making it to where you can virtualize your dev environments, you're just going to be happier in life. And like I will put money on that. Like it's so nice to be able to just like shut down my VM and I'm done for the day. You know what I mean? All those resources, everything is in its nice little space. Like it's just such a better way to develop. I might be also making a YouTube video on that as well. Spoilers. But yeah, like that's how I kind of decided to do it. So like I don't use a MacBook. I mean I do for work, but like I don't use a laptop. I mostly work on my desktop. Because I realize that like that's just how I work. I pretty much do everything on my laptop. What VM software do I use? I use Workstation. So Workstation. There you go. Remember to fix the polling rate if you game on it. Yeah, no, I did. I set it to its proper rate. Let me catch up with chat here though. Lily58. That's a keyboard, right? I feel like I know that keyboard or that name. Yeah, that's a yeah. Yeah, I've seen this one. This one's pretty nice. There you go. Are these just keycaps or is it? Oh, okay, I see. It's the actual. That's pretty cool. I mean, there you go. That's cheap. Is it really just $5, bro? That's dope. I mean, hey, there you go. Gorgoth, what's up, man? How's it going? Look at the Charbadudis. I don't know. Chairdis. I don't know what the hell that is. I can't say words. Oh, it's got a thumb tracker thingy. I've thought about that, going back to a thumb ball, right? The old ball. I just don't know if I would. Orb Weaver is a type of spider. It's true. I have the Tartarus V2 for gaming. That just sounds epic. Is my single favorite keyboard, but I cannot travel with it. It is just beige. Beige? What is beige? Oh, big. It's big. Okay. I was like, what? What? I mean, it looks cool. Yeah, I could see it. It's 3D printed. That's cool. I would like to get another split. I would. Still catching up with chat. Sorry, guys. Custom made Keeb IO Iris. Oh, okay. That's what you... Okay, gotcha. With cat alpha blanks. You guys like blank keycaps? I'm not a big fan of blank keycaps. I've considered it just to see how well I am at typing. But that's really about it. I don't know if I'd actually want to practically use blank keycaps, but maybe. Being able to hot swap keybinds on the pad versus rebinding in game makes my life so much easier. That's cool. I would not work at a place that wanted me to run Windows unless I was doing game dev. Yeah, I'm very happy that I'm not forced on Windows. If I was, oh, for the hot swapping, that makes sense. I got you. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would probably push back if I was like, in software development and they were like, hey, work on Windows. I'd probably be like, fuck you. Oh, sorry. You. I forgot to bleep myself that time. Sorry, chat. Sorry, I was reading something. But yeah, I would probably actually push back on that one. We are fully required to use Windows. It looks like we may be able to use Ubuntu soon though, because the recent Microsoft moved into Linux. That's cool. I'm sorry, Una. That sucks. It's really a bummer that like people get so stuck up on that, because it really doesn't matter. I mean, in the sense that it shouldn't matter what operating system you're running. The giant red one? Which one? I use Windows primarily, but SSH into my Linux laptop to do all my work. Nice. I've done that too. I've heard good things about the MS Curve keyboards for a cheaper split option. Oh, interesting. Microsoft's doing their own split keyboard thing. Ergo keyboards, yeah, starting from 200, even custom build ones. Yeah. Remember, oh yeah, you read that. That's like security through obscurity, though it really isn't a big deal. Yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna, I'm not really worried about somebody accessing my keyboard. Needs 1,000 hertz. What do you want to like actually see reality in your keyboard or in your dude? 1,000 hertz refresh rate would be like literally seeing reality through your monitor. I think you're selling me on this keyboard. I mean, hey, I'm not trying to, but if you are digging what I'm putting down, then hell yeah, let's do it. I actually have a keyboard tray with an ergodox and trackball in the middle. Then on the desk, I have my mouse. Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I like the idea of the trackball is like, I don't always need my mouse, but if I want to like move really quickly, you know what I mean? That seems like it would actually be very valuable of having like a trackball there. I will say I had wrist and pain with the conventional keyboards, and that scared the shit out of me since I was only a senior in college. Yep. Hey, it happens. It can happen quick. You can get carpal tunnel and stuff like that within like 6 months. Like I developed it over like, a little longer than that, or a little less than that actually. So it was like 4 to 5 months for me. Like PCBs, you can get pretty cheap, but when you stack up LEDs, controllers, switches, keycaps, it adds up. Yes. Yeah. And you start talking about like lube and stuff, especially. Oh, we have a friend that builds custom keyboards. We haven't talked to her in a while, but like she builds like $2,000, $3,000 expensive keyboards, and like down to the point where she's like literally just sitting there lubing every spring and every like trigger. It's just like, damn, that's crazy. You guys just try out a keyboard of 400 euros with shipping. Yeah, that's fair. Shipping sucks. The keyboard the Moonlander shipping is not the greatest. I will say that. You have to spend like, it is included with the price of the keyboard, but it's like $80. It sucks. The Moonlander itself would actually probably be like more like $250, $200 if it wasn't like $90 to ship it from Taiwan or wherever it's coming from. Sorry, I'm still catching up with chat, guys. Just give me a second here. Caps is code though, then you use control to send the escape code. I see. PC keyboard, font, primary tool, so you gotta invest. Yep. Well, you gotta think about it. If you're gonna be a programmer, this is your profession. Like listen, if any of you guys are sitting in a chair right now that's hurting you, go buy a chair. Okay? This is your job. If you don't do that, you're gonna regret it. And I'm being serious. Like, I am saying this out of love. If you have a chair right now, that needs to be your first priority. Get yourself a better chair, because your back, it's not going to matter if you can program or not if you can't sit. So yeah, a good chair. Seriously, first thing you should buy. No fancy, powerful. Get a nice chair. Take care of your booty, okay? And your back and everything attached to your booty, all right? Second thing, yes, a good keyboard of some sort. Like, get yourself a keyboard that is going to take care of you, right? And then, yes, it's really weird that Latjor is like literally saying the same thing I'm saying. A screen. You're going to want a good screen, something that is going to make sure you have a good distance. Honestly, a desk is really important. Like it's almost like you go like chair, desk, keyboard, monitor, right? Because you also don't want to get a desk that has your monitor like right in front of your face, dude. Like that's not good. Seriously, like all of this stuff is massively important. And you get weekly massages for your booty? Oh, dang, that's nice. I wish I got massages for my booty. Great pillow, great mattress, great chair, great PC, great keyboard. Exactly. See, those are priorities in the right order. What language? Right now, we're not doing any language. We're just English. We're just talking. But yeah, no, we're gonna hop into some actual work here in a second. Which keyboard is that? Oh, this is a Moonlander. Yeah, this is a Moonlander. If you guys want to see my keyboard, that's it right there. Security stuff. I mean, yeah, but like it's up to your company to also support what your like users okay, like I say this a lot. And I actually went off on a serious tangent, so we're gonna get back into the work here in a second. But like my job is to make it so that everybody can do their job to their best of ability. And like if there's somebody at my company who's like, I don't feel like I can do this because like we have these weird restrictions, it's like, okay, well, let's look at these restrictions and let's figure out how to make it better for you. Like I hate the like solid walls of just like nothing's changing, you have to do this by. It's like, oh, come on, dude. Like, ugh. I made Windows feel like Linux. Oh, nice. That's cool. Still miss i3. Yeah, i3 is tough to walk away from. Men's butt health is very important. Invest in an expensive chair so you don't die. Yeah, actually, believe it or not, if you do not take care of sitting and standing quite often, it can mess with like your digestion and stuff. So just saying, stand every now and then. Standing desks are very good as well. Yeah, I have a standing desk too. That Moonlander, was it white before? Nope. Get bad back. Yep. I think I'm caught up with chat now, guys. Holy smokes. Look at that. I was able to appropriately give you as much of attention as I could. I'm sorry if I missed any messages, by the way. If I did, just resend it to me. I promise I will respond. A good screen. Yep. I think. What software is this? This is... what is this called? Lucid Charts. Lucid? I think it's... Yeah. Do we have a thing for Lucid? Yeah, Lucid Charts. Yeah. Yeah, Lucid Charts. But yeah, not a language. I got my Moonlander on eBay. Nice. But yeah, standing desks are good. I'm gonna be fair though. Like, don't skimp on a standing desk. I know I don't want to say that like and sound like a complete jerk, but like honestly, you don't want to. Oh, there you go. So somebody got me to stand. There you go. You don't want to skimp on a standing desk because you're eventually gonna, if you do, you're just gonna end up replacing it, and it's just not very fun. And you can't do cool things like this too. Hi. When I stand, you stand. Fair enough. Your dedication to chat is admirable. Thank you. I'm not always great at it, so I wanted to try and be good at it today. Try to, at least. I will say that an alternative to a good chair is a standing desk. Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah, I mean, if you're getting up, that's fair. I got myself an Aeron. I want to try that. I don't know what an Aeron is, but it sounds awesome. Get bad back. Yes, yeah, you don't want to get bad back. Bad back is not good. Can you put your hand over your left keyboard? How easily is it to reach the left and right arrow? How do you manage your state? Can you rephrase that question for me? Because I don't know what state you mean. Can you put your hand over your left keyboard? Okay, done it. How easily can you reach with the left arrow keys? Like that? Boop, 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 boop. I'm going to be fair, though. I really don't use my arrow keys that often because I'm on the HJKL vibe, right? So, honestly, all of HJKL is on my right hand. So, I really don't actually use these that often unless, like, I'm not in Vim, which is rare. I had it in my office, but I want that as home as well. Oh, standing desk? Nice. What do you mean by managing state? Sorry, just so that I understand. Jama, I don't know if I fully follow you there. Just put text Moonlander keyboard right above the keyboard. Yeah, I probably should, or just exclamation mark keyboard or something. I don't know. Hello. I remember you mentioning pain caused Moonlander. You had to change your layout. Did it help permanently, or did you get the pain? No, I permanently got rid of it. Yeah. So if you do exclamation mark keyboard in chat, like I've been doing quite often, and you look at my layout, and I'll explain this really quickly. The TLDRs is where this macro play is, right? Is where my Windows key used to be. And so I would have to do this a lot. Like I would literally have to take my pinky here and then like stretch it across my keyboard, right? And vice versa. And so what that was doing is that was stretching this right here and this right here. And it stretched this right here to the point where I got carpal tunnel right here. And I ended up like literally feeling my bone just like rubbing against, there it is, the command wall. It happens to everybody. Don't worry. It's a rite of passage. Welcome. But yeah, it was so bad that it was like bone, basically scraping bone. And so what I had to do was I realized it wasn't the Moonlander, it was how I was using it. And it's very similar to just like, what anything like with, if you don't have good practices around something, you have to change those practices. And so what I realized is that I needed this closer to my home row. And so that's what I did is I moved it basically to my pinky. And so my Windows keys are on both of my pinkies, essentially. What key do I use it to escape? It's the same key. So this is another thing that's really nice about the Moonlander is the Moonlander can do like when tapped, do this, or when held, do this. And so like I can tap, right? And I'm pressing escape. But if I press and hold, see how my Windows pops up? So it's a multi-key, basically. Like I said, you can get really clever with the Moonlander. You got to think about it. You know what I mean? You got to really build it for you. And that's why I've been going very slowly with it. But I'm very happy where I am so far. No arrow keys, HJKL. Yeah, same. I have tiny baby hands, so that keyboard might be a bit big for me. I have seen some people say that they did not like the Moonlander, right? Like the oh yeah, that's fine. I don't know why AutoMod does stuff like that. But yeah, no, I know people who don't like the Moonlander. That's fine. Try the Kinesis. Try something else. Like that's fine. You don't have to like this keyboard. It just happens to be my favorite keyboard. That's all. Wait, did you just open up Windows? No. This is a VM. Yeah, I use something called Workstation. Are the key bindings macros saved to the keyboard? That's the cool part. Is they're actually saved to the keyboard's onboard memory. Yeah. So like realistically, it's not on the computer. Like if I was to put my password into a macro, technically that is stored on the keyboard. It's not stored on the computer anywhere. Okay. I think we're caught up, chat. I think you make me want to get one, really. I mean, again, it's a good keyboard. I definitely think it is. I think I'm mostly caught up, chat. If I missed anybody, whatever. I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Just send your message again. But I think I pretty much answered everybody. Again, I still want to know about that state question. I'm curious what you meant by how do I manage my state. Anywho's. I've been actually wanting one because of Prime. I mean, again, I understand. You guys watch us, use them. And like, again, we're also like, the thing about, I think Prime and I especially is we're also pretty proficient at using our keyboards, right? And that's like you get to see how we have spent time customizing our keyboard and getting really, really comfortable with them. And I think that's what makes a lot of people also really excited about wanting to use these type of keyboards. But the fairness is like, we've been using our keyboards for a while. We've got pretty heavy opinionations, Tej as well. Like I know for a fact that Tej has got, probably very heavy customizations around his keyboard. You know what I mean? I don't know who else does in our streamer friends. I'm sure there's like, a lot of like more simpler customizations and stuff like that. But I would be curious to know how many actually like go as far as to like, again, like remapping keys and, like actually focusing on building a development, like a keyboard focused on development, which is really what this is like, right? Like our keyboards and our layouts and everything are all really focused towards like programming. You can find VMware Workstation keys for like 30 cents. Can you really? That's cool. Yeah, that's insane. One day. Again, he's probably got a very, very custom setup that, allows him to, and he's just a very fast typer. It's straight on the Watson side of my right hand is like 45. Actually, mine's kind of the same way. So you might not realize it, but I'm actually like, I'm kind of like this. Like this is how I kind of naturally lay my hands, which is weird. Like I don't go directly at an angle. I kind of just like bow for some reason. And so yeah, like I actually I can appreciate that. I know what that's like. Okay, so let's go back to what we were originally talking about, which was what we'd been working on over the past week. Like I said, from a production standpoint, we look good, right? Like we're fine with how we're going to set up DNS in Cloudflare. We're fine with how we're going to set up CloudFront for our CDN. And again, we know that of the pre-production side, we're either going to have a proxy of some sort, or we're just going to do the same thing that we did in production, right? So outside of that, right, became the next question, which is why we're kind of stepping away from this, which is we need to solve a more practical solution, because at Hippo, we have a lot of different front ends. And like, listen, okay, we're finally getting back to what I was originally about to start talking about, which is there's a lot of like I don't think people fully understand front ends and their different, like the different types of front ends you can have. And this was something that like we haven't really had a conversation with at Hippo, but we've already built things that work this way, right? And one of the things that was brought up that was a concern was like, what's the web URL for it? It's just hippo.com. It's just hippo.com. Hippo.com. Boop. There you go. But yeah, so like, and again, we've built these front ends already. Like we've talked or we've already built these front ends and deployed them and stuff, but we've not talked about how they were built. And so there was a concern that was brought up with regards to the template and like, does it work everywhere, right? And, one thing that's, kind of stands out here is that we are trying to solve for what is a static site deployment, right? We're trying to solve for, I am building a front end and it's, being output as a JavaScript, HTML files. And then like I put that, in an Nginx service, right? Or something like that. Like that's what I want to solve for. However, the lines have been so blurred at Hippo that it's hard to distinguish when a front end is that.
Hello there.
And when a front end is like a single server or a server-side rendering, right? Something that actually needs a process to run. And so this kind of like, honestly, it got me a little frustrated because like I used to be a front-end engineer. I did that for 3 years. I was massively passionate about front-end, and, for us to kind of like not be able to distinguish the two was a little frustrating. Part of that is because of how we deploy things. Everything goes to a container right now, but everything doesn't need to go to a container. And this is where we go back to that, at the bare minimum, if we're provisioning one pod per day, right, at bare minimum of 0.25 CPU, which is just the smallest amount of cores you can provision, and half a gig of memory, right, it's $9 a month. Right, for one of these. So like realistically, it doesn't seem like a lot. However, this is just one pod, right? Let's do 1,000. This is where when you start talking about like, okay, I have multiple environments, I have multiple front ends, those things need to scale, right? Like you wouldn't think that it would inflate so much, but I mean, it really does, right? It's just 1,000 times 9 basically. And so this is what we're trying to solve for. This is like what we're trying to look at and say like, okay, do we need this cost everywhere? Like, what if we said, well, out of 1,000 of those pods, actually only 500 of them are single page application or, server side rendered applications. So realistically, we can cut our prices and our costs in half, right? By doing that. However, when I first went into building this, the assumption was that, oh, well, all of our front ends would be using this new design. And it came back kind of like, well, can we do that? And I was like, well, no, of course not. Like, we're talking about two different problems. We're talking about building server-side render versions of front ends, which again use a node process, need to be running in a container. When the request hits their container, obviously it's going to render that file from a server-side perspective, right? Or we have a scenario where flat files are being generated and we're putting them in some file server and it's being, but it's not just, I guess what I mean to say is the assumption here is that we could solve our front ends with just one solution. And what I'm trying to tell you guys, chat, is you need to think that same way too, of like, no, you can't, right? It depends on the type of front end that you're going to build and then how you want to deploy around that if you want to be as efficient as you possibly can with your deployments, right? For us right now, if we're sitting at again, 1,000 pods a month, and we're going to say that all of our front ends are running in these pods, and then we say half of our front ends are in fact static front ends, the value for us is really that we don't need all of this additional infrastructure. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to pay somewhere else, right? Like, it doesn't mean we're not going to pay for, CDN costs or something like that. Of course we are. But we're not paying for literal computation time that we don't need to be paying for, right? And so this is really where I left off at my work, where I was like, listen, like, what's really going to happen here is we're going to need to take a look at each one of our front ends now with this design and say, like, okay, is this an actual static front end or is it a server-side rendered front end, right? Does this work to go into the new design? Does this one not? Does this one do? And now we've kind of, like basically this whole thing that we were working on has now really become how are we managing all of our front ends? And so because of that, I'm taking a step back from it, and we're not going to be doing this on stream, at least the next parts, because, again, like I can go as far as I can to say like, okay, we're going to do it like this and it's going to work like this. And this is how everything is just going to kind of play out. But again, there's things that kind of pop up out of nowhere, things that you don't expect. Again, it's a valid point, but I think the problem that I saw in that conversation was not what we're doing is wrong, because it's not. We still need this solution, but it was more, whoa, okay, we're not all on the same page as a company on like what our front ends are and how they're deployed and like why they're deployed the way they are. And so if you guys deal with that, then what I just shared with you might be able to help. Where, again, if you can have that perspective of saying like, okay, is this a server-side rendered front end, right? Is this something that requires a process that has to be in a container that needs to be running 24/7? Okay, what is the cheapest and most effective way we can run that, right? Or is this a front end that, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I think if you look at deploying all of your front ends the same way, you're going to have cost bleed somewhere, because as I've said before, like you just don't, for a static front end, like realistically, you could set up an Nginx service with all of your front ends behind it, you know what I mean? And then bam, like there you go. That's, all of your front ends could literally exist in one Nginx service because they're all static. And then you have like SNI or something to like route to different domains through it, or like that could be your deployment. I'm just saying that to treat it as a service, always, you're going to probably spend money in places you don't need to, right? Managed node groups could help with this. Not really. So what we're talking about, passing remarks, is the intrinsic difference of how these things stay online, right? In a service perspective, we're talking about a container running in the cloud, right, for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? In a static file approach, we're talking about literal files that are just sitting behind file servers that people can access, right? And there's one that's more expensive than the other and one that's, more efficient than the other. And again, if you're trying to deploy services that run node processes, again, like I don't really know how far, like I was actually, Next was brought up because we use Next at work for a few things. And I was like, well, it depends on how you use Next. Like I don't, if we're doing nothing but like server-side rendering or, pre-building, then, there might be places where there could be static assets and not. But like the reality of it is you're like in a next deployment, we probably need a container, right? Not always, but again, we probably need a container of some sort versus just good old fashioned React, right? Which uses something like Webpack to generate files, right? And so that's the contrast that I'm trying to really provide here is like with front ends, you can either have a front end that requires a process. Those are web apps, I guess is the best way of calling them. Or you have a front end that is just a static front end. If it's a static front end, then the way you deploy that can be completely different than the way that you deploy your services. And right now at Hippo, we deploy everything the same way. Everything's in a container, right? And so there's a lot of, actually, to be fair, at Hippo, technically there's 2 pods or 2 tasks, right? That we run per front end, right? So a more better way of looking at this is we probably have like 30 pods maybe per environment, right? And that's across like 15 front ends, right? There's probably more than that. And here's the thing, this is just the base. Realistically, this would be 60 because we then also have 2, right? For high availability, right? So it's like, here's the thing is like, even like here, again, we'll do some simple math. So we have 15 containers, right? There's 15 VMs running right now of 15 different front ends. Then we duplicate it and we say, like, okay, we want 2 of those, right? And then we say like, okay, well, you know what? Now we actually need to scale those, right? Because this is just the base, whereas this is when we're getting a lot of traffic, right? So at any time we could be spending between $250 to $540 a month, which will enable us to basically go from, high availability scale of just 2 nodes, right? To double that to handle multiple traffic if we need to, because we have auto scaling and stuff like that. Even that is 500 and, potentially 500, or we'll go the lower route. I don't want to seem like, whatever. We'll go the lower route. We'll go the 250, right? So let's do this. Hold on. Let's do the 30, right? Because we said just okay. Say we don't ever scale, right? Now let's go to like let's go to S3. So we're gonna go to S3 because we have to have S3, right? And we're gonna say how much storage? Like a gig, maybe. Like this is by the way, each bucket will have its own front end. So like thinking that a front end will have a gigabyte of month of data is like absurd. Realistically, it would probably have like 0.500 gigabytes. Like it's, but again, look, it's 2 cents to do a gigabyte of month in storage. So already for half of what we need, which is the storage part of the front end, is like minuscule. But let's keep moving forward, right? So if we do like 1,000 requests, still very, very small. Get select requests for 3,000. So this could get pretty crazy. So I'll just get like really insane with this. Maybe not that insane, but like, I don't know. That seems maybe a little bit more possible. Data returned, probably like a gig. And data scanned, maybe a gig. This is pushing, here, let's see. Yeah, there you go. So this is pushing pretty good limits right here. And to be fair, like this one would probably be less than this one. Like this one would probably be like 2 or 3 numbers or zeros less because we get a lot more than we put to the bucket, right? Just with that, let's do inbound. So we'll do a terabyte. Sure. Again, we're still in the dollars. And then we'll do outbound terabyte to the internet is $96. Now, technically, this won't be going to the internet. This will be going to CloudFront. So if you notice how they have CloudFront as an option, look at that. It's free. Again, if you use Amazon's networking, they don't charge you for it. So for storage, we would be spending $4.50. Now, again, $273 a month gives us 15 front ends, right? So let's see. I mean, again, we could technically put everything in one bucket, by the way, as well, if we wanted to. So it's up to us if we want tons of buckets or if we want one bucket. But let's go ahead and then let's add our CloudFront. And I'm actually curious about CloudFront because I haven't done this in a while. So CloudFront. let's say region, sure, United States, data transferred out to the internet. So that's 1 gigabyte. Let's do a terabyte. This is probably a little bit more realistic. Data transfer out to origin. So this is from the bucket, I believe. I don't know exactly how much data this would be. I don't know how to calculate this. This is fine. Like if we just sent out a terabyte of gigabit or a terabyte of data, right? That's fine. That makes more sense. I don't think it would be more than a gigabyte. I don't think it would be a terabyte a month. And the number of requests per month. So let's say like, I don't know, million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So that's 1 million requests. What is $88 plus $4.53? Because that is the difference. And again, these are all just like made up numbers. Like realistically, some of these are going to scale one way or the other. You'll probably have a little bit more, right? Yeah, and after the free tier deductions, right? For example, CloudFront does give you actually a terabyte of free transfer before you even use it, right? And here's the thing too, we're just doing the United States, which is where most of our traffic would go. I would say anywhere outside of the US, our traffic like almost is 25% of what it is. So again, like this is what I'm trying now. And here's the thing too, chat. This is something we're not considering from the Fargate perspective. We're just talking about containers. We're not even talking about the load balancers. We're not talking about the traffic for those load balancers, right? So even though this seems like, oh, well, it's, that's 15 whatevers for, $270 a month. There's a lot more to it than that. There's going to be, again, network traffic. There's going to be load balancer stuff. There's going to be other things that are going to be a part of it too. So I would say realistically, this is probably more like $300 a month. Yeah, like NAT gateways can get you. Exactly. So this is probably more like $300 a month, right? However, if we look at it from a CloudFront perspective and we just say like, all right, well, all of our front ends together, right? We'll say, all right, 1 million requests through all of our front ends, 1 million requests. So if we had 15 front ends, I don't know what the math is on that. So if we had 1 million divided by 15, that means that each front end could get 66,000 requests a month before we started breaking through this. And this is just through one distribution. If we wanted more distributions, we could totally up it. But again, because we could just use one distribution, why not, right? And then again, same thing with the storage. The storage is so minuscule because the reality of it is like, it's flat files, right? And we really did like doing 1 million GET requests, right? A gigabit of storage data, returned. And like some of this is a little bit, stretched, but we were doing that purposely to prove a point, right? So realistically about $100 a month versus $300 a month, and then scale that out to, how far out you want it to go. Does it do horizontal scaling as well? Yes, it would. Yeah. Doesn't Fargate manage scaling? And it does. Yes, it does. Don't forget that pricing. Yep. Could you run your server-side front ends in Lambdas? So here's the thing about Lambdas, Bleachin, is like, yeah, I think you can. As a matter of fact, I'm more than confident you could. But like, I don't really know if that's. I know there are places where like they have serverless websites. And by serverless, we mean like Lambdas and, stuff like that. I don't really know how much I like that or how like practical I actually find that to be. You're basically talking about starting a process or having to continually start a process. And I understand that like you need to, you could scale it out to whatever, but like, just think about every time making a request, you're basically either spawning a process or, hoping a process exists before it, right? So yeah, like, and then scale that to like 1 million requests, right? Like, that's tough. That's tough than just basically saying like, why don't we just put this on a bucket and call it a day, right? If you need server-side rendering, it might be better for you just run containers, right? Run containers that you can horizontally scale, right? That's a little bit easier, I think. Personally, I would rather do that and say I can take a company to 1 million requests a second than building it on Lambdas and saying we might be able to get there. You know what I mean? I know I can scale a company to, way beyond that, well, not maybe 1 million requests a second, but, thousands of requests a second, easily, versus Lambdas. I don't know. That's just kind of how I look at it. If you need it, then maybe it's worth it. Hello, I'm just here to tell you all I just failed so bad my first job interview. Well, listen, David, I want to be clear on you with you, my friend. We all do it. I've done it. I've done it at very large companies, and I've done it at very small companies. That's why it's important to, it's really important to, what's it called? Practice, interview often. It's not a bad thing to interview. Not bad at all. When you get ruined by the cold startup types, right? Yeah, I mean, stuff like that could definitely be challenging for sure. To be fair, working at over a minute isn't an issue. Just wondering if the front end could do it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel you. I mean, yeah, that's. I'm just saying that, like, I think they solve different problems. Yeah. Lambdas don't scale well if you have a lot. Oh, what's up, Inexpensive? How's it going? Hello. So yeah, so as I said, that's kind of where we, yeah, you're welcome. Don't, we all do it, man. We all, every now and then, mess up. Honestly, it more than likely means that you, like, that company was probably not a good fit for you because you might have not felt comfortable, right? You might, like, there was something that was there that maybe sure is partially your fault, but there's normally a good reason as to why you don't end up at a company, right? Like, it normally ends up working out for the better, I think. So don't be too hard on yourself. But yeah, like I said, anyways, that's kind of where we're leaving it at right now, at least for the front end stuff. I am going to essentially, take the things that we've talked about, right? We are going to eventually make a decision on if we're going to, make our pre-production environments the same as our production and actually, put them on the CDNs too, or if we're going to use some type of proxy, internally, which again, I definitely don't think it's impossible, right? I think it's more so, is it going to be the best fit for us? So that's more what I want to figure out. I want to know if there's more value or less value to us having our developers develop on a CDN, essentially. Would a cache be considered a flat file storage or rather than a use case for S3 as cache? You can use it as cache if you want. It just depends on what, like, cache is a very open-ended word. Right, like cache doesn't always mean instant. It just means that it's a copy, right? It's a version of something that you need to retrieve later. So, I mean, if you want to do cache files, right, into S3 and you can use it as a caching system. As a matter of fact, S3 has TTLs that you can actually tell S3, hey, I want this object to expire after this amount of time, and it will literally just get deleted from S3. Like it'll just boop, just goes away. So, like, you could do stuff like that. Sure. I know a lot of different, solutions solve that way. It's just about how, what the problem is you're trying to solve. Do you have a recommendation to stress test an API, send 10,000 simultaneous requests? There's stuff out there that you can do that with, for sure. I think if you want to do it effectively and at scale, you probably need to, like, build a small cluster that can do that for you, where you can, like, distribute out to, like, a bunch of nodes and then, like, have, like, basically, if you can have like 5 nodes going at like, 2,500 each, or like, is that right, Matt? No, 5. Yeah. So I don't know, whatever, something like that. No. Yeah. 2. No, whatever. 2. I don't know, whatever. Math is hard, but you get my point. Like if you could distribute that rather than send all of those requests from one place, that would be a more effective way of stress testing and simulating it as well, instead of just sending them all from one place. But yeah, Gatling is something that's optional. I think even like, what's it called can do it. Postman. I think Postman, has got like, stress test software where you can automate stress testing with Postman. Well, Amazon actually does not mind you stress testing yourself as long as you are doing it, right? Like they don't want you DDoSing their systems, but like, you know, essentially, yeah, it's called a runner. So you can use here. I'll just copy and paste this to you. But yeah. K6 and autocannon. Yeah, I mean, so those are probably going to be more like CLI based like solutions. What I'm giving you is just like if you're getting started, but there are definitely a lot of really good options out there for sure. And chat, if you have any like links, share the links. Yeah, share the links. It's easier for people to be able to share the links than anything else. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, cool. What time is it? It is, okay, we're almost like 2 hours in. Okay, so here's what I want to do. As I said, I've broken down and talked a bit about, you know, kind of where we left off. And that's where we're going to leave it for right now. I'm not going to do any other Hippo front end stuff right now, but I did want to at least leave you guys with where we left it, which is, you know, again, we love the way we're doing it, you know, going to production. We want to make we want to try and understand if we want production to be the same everywhere, right? If we want our developers basically developing against a CDN, or if we want a proxy there. And then again, the last thing is, you know, we want to take our front ends and actually move them now. So we're going to take some of our front ends at Hippo, try moving them to the static site solution and see if they actually work. Because again, there was a concern brought up that maybe not all of our front ends can move because again, some of them are server side rendered versus static. Right. But I am aware that we have static sites. And so I do know that some of them can be used. So I'm going to be focused on moving those. So yeah, it's a part of the DevOps job. Sometimes you do a really good, you know, you go really, really far with a design and you're like, okay, this looks good. And then, you know, everything kind of gets put on hold for a second. And it's not really put on hold. Like, it's really not. Like, again, I'm just testing our front ends with it now, right? Like, we're actually doing more than just a proof of concept. We're actually saying like, okay, let's see if we can actually make these work because all of our front ends are so different. Cool. Okay. So with that being said, I would like to do two things. First off, I would like to go get a glass of water and go to the bathroom because I do have to go to the bathroom. However, I do want to jump on some stuff that we haven't talked about for a minute. For starters, I would like to jump back on the Nix pills stuff. And I think this is what we're going to do next for a little bit. If you guys don't remember, I think it was like 3 streams ago, which seems like it was forever, but we were actually doing the Nix pills. We were walking through all of the Nix pills and kind of like going through that. So you just have a good introduction to Nix and actually even help me with a YouTube video that I'm working on and I'm trying to make for you guys. So I was excited. I would like to go through this a little bit more, especially because we were at a really good one, which is the basics of the language itself. So we're actually going to be looking at the language. We're going to be seeing like how Nix as a language actually works and using its REPL and stuff like that, which will be pretty cool. And then using like functions and imports and stuff. So like basically what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the actual language side of it and actually look at like how Nix is actually, you know, programmed in. Outside of that, there is something else I want to do. Hang on. And that is this, which is I have been getting reports from LSP Containers that we've got some bugs. And I would like to fix those bugs. I haven't merged anything into this project in about 4 months. So I do also want to look at LSP Containers and see if we can get some of these bugs fixed. So I think that's what I would like to focus on today. I'd like to do a little bit of the Nix pills if we can, at least go through this whole thing. And then if we have time after that, I want to jump into LSP Containers or maybe I'll just let you guys decide and we can pick which one we do first. Maybe we'll do that. Yeah, well, why don't we do that? So why don't I do this? I'm going to take a super quick break. When I come back, we will either choose from Nix pill stuff, or we'll jump into LSP Containers and we'll do like Neovim open source development and stuff. Okay? Does that sound good? Cool. Listen, by the way, if you are new to our channel, please be sure to check out that little blurb right there. Don't worry, it's going to come in a second. But basically, we are a variety channel hosted by myself as well as my good friend Atoda. During the week, I program Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays normally. You get to hang out with me, see all the stuff I deal with and work with daily. And then on the weekends, you can hang out with Atoda and experience basically brand new perspective to programming. Somebody who's just getting started, learning, and, you know, kind of taking it step by step. So, yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate you. Again, I am going to take a super quick break. We do have a YouTube as well. If you guys are curious in some of the other content we make, again, like stuff related to Nix or automation, be sure to check out the YouTube videos around it. I have some videos right now out. I'm working on more. So yeah, outside of that, we also have our archives. Our archives is where basically all of our VODs exist. So if you ever want to catch a previous stream, think you might have missed something, the VODs are there too. Does Nix work with Python? It does. Yeah, I actually have a video. I literally have a video on YouTube where I show an example of it where develop using Nix Flakes. So yeah, check out that video. Check out that video. It's a good one. But yeah, I'm going to take a super quick break. And then when I come back, we're going to hop into, well, first we'll make a poll. We'll make a poll and we'll see which one you guys would rather do, if you'd rather do the Nix or Neovim stuff. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to take a super quick break. I'll be right back. I will see you guys momentarily. Thank you for being so amazing. All right, be right back. 1 second. Oh, I'm going to run an ad as well. If you don't know why we run ads during breaks, it's mostly because we want to make Twitch happy. But all right, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Oh, and if you don't want to see the ad, you can subscribe to the channel. You know, if you got one of them Twitch Primes, you know, some of them Bezos Buckies, that might take that ad away from you. All right, I'll be right back. 1 second. Hi, chat. I'm back. So I lied. I'm not gonna let you. I'm not gonna let you pick. Here's the reason why, though. I want to do more Nix stuff. I guarantee you, it's gonna take the rest of the stream. I guarantee it. And yeah. Okay, cool. Wait, why is the audio that low? Hold on. Oh, never mind. It was just the end of a song. Okay. I was worried about that. And I really, really want to give attention to LSP containers. We really haven't had an opportunity to manage it in a while. And so I think it would be a good opportunity to do that, essentially. It's also like, it's gotten a bit more hype than I normally expected it to. Like it's got like 100 and something stars, which again, for us, that's pretty crazy. Oh no, geez, it's got 200 stars now. Holy crap. So I want to build it. I want to grow LSP containers. I want to make it so that it's something that people are hyped about. Nixify it. So that's going to be the fun part. Is I don't have any way of testing LSP containers right now because I use everything in Nix. So yeah, I kind of need to figure out how I can set up. I need to set up, basically I need to, either that or I need to figure out a way of making a like testable environments, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Can somebody make me sit down, please, by the way? Yo, Dizzler, how's it going? Dizzle Rizzle? Sorry, my bad. Dizzle Rizzle? There you go. I got you that time. It's third time's a charm. What's up, dude? How's it going? I always appreciate a good cat jam. Can I sit, though? Would somebody please let your boy sit down? Don't you dare. I'm still standing. Oh, come on, man. All right. All right. Oh, God. Hold on. I might have died. Oh, never mind. We're good. Whew. All right. I could do this for a little while longer. So let's do this. So if you guys do not know what LSP containers is, I'm going to break it down for you right now, okay? As a matter of fact, we should create a lucid chart for this because luckiest girl alive. Oh, I'm the luckiest girl alive. I don't know why that's one of my recommended thingies, but that's awesome. I am the luckiest girl alive. It's true. I tried. It says out of stock. Oh, okay. So it must be still on cooldown. It's probably still on cooldown then. It hasn't been an hour yet. Anyone know a good DevOps boot camp? So I don't. I'm gonna be fair, and this is a bit of a spoiler. I might be working on something to solve that problem for you guys, or help educate with that stuff. I'm gonna be fair. I don't know of any great resources out there that I fully trust, mostly because every place I've looked, it's been mostly hype. And so that has inspired me to try and put a better education around DevOps. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. And you're not going to see anything until like December. Yeah. But around December, keep your eyes out for something related to DevOps that you guys might be interested in. Up until then, you could do this. DevOps roadmap. I will say there's a lot of on there. You know, I understand it. Take it by interest would be my approach there. Take it by interest. Okay. Oh, we already have a thing for LSP containers. Nice. Exactly. Okay. So let's talk about LSP containers, what it is, how it works, and how you might like it. Okay. Say you are a developer who is new to Neovim. Yes, I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to you like Uber neckbeards. Calm down, all right? I'm talking to the new people, all right? Say you're new to Neovim and you have no idea how to set up language servers. You have no idea how to manage those things. And you really just want something that's very plug and play if possible, right? Now, there's a lot of things out there, right? Nvim LSP is one of them. And this is, LSP installer. Yep, this is one of them where like it will LSP noise. I don't know what you meant to put there, but I'm gonna delete that for you, my friend. I'm pretty sure that was a base 64 encrypt or base 64 string. Could have also been something else. So on your behalf, Alex, I'm gonna delete that message for you. I was just thinking of switching. It's just his password. Yeah, no big deal. So yeah, and there are projects like this that exist where they will LSP install essentially for you, and there's like all these other things. But look at this, like there could be requirements for this to work, right? You might even need like Node to install Node, right? So like this is just something that these are nice tools, and I don't think that they're bad ones that exist. I just think that it's solving a problem differently. Okay, I don't want to be clear on that. This is trying to solve a problem of installing language servers per multiple operating systems, per different types of those operating systems in the sense of like versions and stuff like that. That's a very, very difficult problem to solve. Hello there. How do I install this on Mac? How do I install this on Windows? How do I install this on Linux, right? You normally have like 3 if statements, and that's like what these type of libraries for Neovim do. They will script-based or other type of automation-based install the language servers for you. And again, like I said, I don't think they're bad. I think that these things could super be helpful and they might work for you. However, it does require you to you gotta, expect the automation to work essentially with it. And hope that it works on your operating system and all that kind of stuff. Denzel, what's up, buddy? How's it going? So the difference between what LSP containers does and this is that the basic here is that this actually installs things to your operating system, right? And so they will, by the time this thing's done, you'll have a binary somewhere for the language server of your choice. What we do with LSP containers and these language servers is we simply say, if you have Docker, problem solved, right? Docker, if you look at what it does, and again, we use Docker here. We also have Podman. Don't talk about the backend, all right? We have multiple backend support. We're probably going to support Nix as well. So just calm down, all right? We're just talking about Docker right now because that's what everybody knows. But if you happen to be a developer who has Docker on your computer, which a lot of us do, okay, then you might be able to compare some of the problems that this type of plugin is trying to solve with what Docker solves, right? Docker is a way of installing things into a container and then shipping that container wherever you want it to be, right? Nvim LSP installer is a portable plugin that basically ships language servers by being a portable plugin that can be in other places. And so what we do is we put the responsibility of the installation and stuff on Docker. And we say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to make language server images for all of our language servers, right? And then what'll happen is when you go to start or open up a file in Neovim, our extension, LSP Containers, is going to, instead of running a process directly, it's going to run that process in a container. And it's going to run our container that we built and made completely, available anywhere. The nice thing about using Docker here, or containers in general here, is that it makes the language servers very portable, right? I can pull down the exact same image that you're using and know that it should at least work identically because it's got the same files, it's the same build, it's the same hash, right? So this is what LSP Containers does. So when I say that you are, if you're somebody new and you're kind of already used to containers, this might click with you and might be interesting to you. And this was something that was interesting to me. Now, I wasn't using Nix before this, right? I still love containers. I'm a massive container fan. However, I will say that, I really, when I tried applying this to Neovim, it was a really awesome discovery. And I will say, this is not something I came up with. NVim LSP config. Actually, I was bored one day. And I was like, man, I would like to, because I love Neovim. I'm a big supporter of Neo, and I want to be fair. I don't say Vim. And that's not to say I don't like Vim. I've literally used Vim my whole life. I cannot say I don't like Vim. I used Vim as a kid, SSHing into servers, trying to set up Apache, web servers and shit like that when I was a kid. Like, I can't say I don't like Vim. However, Neovim is truly my favorite editor, right? Neovim. And I use Neovim because it has such cool abilities to have this extensibility around using Lua. I guess now you can use Rust. I'm not too sure how far that goes. I know Tej was like doing something with Rust. I don't know. He's a crazy man. But yeah, like I definitely like Neovim a lot. And I think that it was really cool to be able to basically say like, all right, let's see if we can make a plugin that fires containers for you with processes inside of them. And again, if you go to the wiki, this was actually a article in the wiki. And so if we click on, I think installing language server, running language servers in containers. Yeah, which is ironic because like we're not referenced here at all. I should probably see if I can put in a pull request just to be like, hey, if you want to actually use something that does this, here's a project right here. But yeah, like this, I read this. I was bored one day trying to figure out, again, very much like how you guys all probably feel at some point. I want to build something. I don't know what to build. So I just started looking through the wiki, and sure enough, I was like running language servers in containers, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. I like Docker, like this, yeah. And I just freaked out, and then we made the project. So yeah, it is something I want to keep building. It is something I'm very excited about, and it is something that, like, honestly, I never thought we'd at least get to, like, I know it sounds silly, but like 200 stars and like 26 forks is pretty crazy. Like this is actually pretty active, and so I want to keep it active. I want to keep it as something that people want to use, and honestly, I want to add a lot to it. I'd like to have like some nice pop-ups where like you can manage the VMs or the containers or images better. And like, I would like to make it fancy, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Less amount of binaries. Yeah. So Una, that's another thing that's really nice about it is with LSP containers, they're just images, right? So if you're like, oh, I need space on my computer, or, oh, I want to make sure I only have the LSP, container I need, then you can just prune all of your Docker images and then just re-pull down the latest ones, right? And that's like really nice. Some language servers are very small. Go, for example, is not. Go's like a 2 gigabit image that we build, I think. It's a pretty big image. Rust, I think, is also, well, no, Rust Analyzer is actually very small. But there's a couple language servers that are actually pretty beefy. And so, yeah, in those scenarios, like, it's nice to be able to just be like Docker image remove, and get rid of any
Hello
previous image than having to be like, okay, did I get every file, right? Like that's something I hate about. And again, I'm not trying to, I don't think this is a bad project at all. I've looked at it before. I've seen good things. And again, I've used it myself and it's worked pretty well. But like, I just don't like having things installed in places I don't know where they're going to be, right? And I don't think that this does a bad job at that. It's just, I don't think this thing can fully control, like, what language servers are going to do. And another nice thing about LSP containers is the language server is running in a container, right? So anything the language server basically produces, unless we, put our files in the server container, is just going to be in that container. So again, if something gets deleted or I'm sorry, if something gets added, it gets added to that container and then the image goes away when it's done. Is it in combination with, you can use it with, basically how LSP containers works is it works in tandem with LSP config, right? So you need LSP config to use LSP containers. And so what'll happen is when LSP config goes to load the language server, our plugin essentially knows how to override and set it up so that it runs it in a container versus running it in a natural process. I tried doing a Nixification of LSP containers when I was new to Nix. It kind of worked, but it would need a lot of love. Yeah, I want to do the Nixification thing. I do. I just like, I really need to figure out a better approach for that. I need to figure out like the best approach for that, I should say. It's not something I don't want to do. I absolutely, I think it makes sense. You know what I mean? And I think it kind of broadens what we mean by container, right? Which I like as well, more of saying like, it's the project's goal is to, isolate and portabilize, make these things really portable, I guess. Git clone. Also, I'm trying to work with working trees more often. And so you're going to see me doing a lot more of like git clone bear. I like him. So I actually did talk to Prime about this. I contributed early on to the project he made with work trees. And he was somebody who introduced me to them as well. And so I was like, the problem I had with working trees was a lot of my working directories have things inside of them that I really need. You know what I mean? And so it kind of made me realize that, well, a lot of the things I'm doing are not as ephemeral as I wish they were. And so basically I'm trying to use working trees more to forcibly stop that, right? Like if I have things that are not dynamic enough to where like, I have to constantly like copying configs or something like that, I need to solve that a different way. Because I do really like working with work trees actually quite a bit. And so that's why, if you were curious on why I'm using working trees more, it's because I do like using them. It's simply that I haven't built it into my workflow good enough yet. The tricky part is that the number of people with Nix on their machines is much lower than Docker. Yeah, and that's why we want to support all of them, right? That's why we want to support all of them. Okay, so right here is our, where are we? We're in LSP containers. So here's something interesting, which is, I want to go to Docker files really quickly. Thank you for the follows, by the way, guys. But I get that it takes some time. Yeah, for sure. But what's up, Shy? Teddy, how's it going? And thank you for the follows, guys. I appreciate that. AMG Idhem? AMG Idhem? I don't know. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. But hello. Language servers, JSON.NET, nightly job. Nix is Linux only? I think it's Unix only, technically. Upgrade LSP. Okay, we've got some stuff here that we need to do. Oh, wait. Did he do this? Add a cron for build and push. Closes. Nice. Hell yeah. Okay. Nice. All right. We got some stuff we need to close here. Hold on. Let's do this. So So, okay, so this is going to add a schedule. I have not given this enough love. I'm actually kind of embarrassed by this. What's up, Big Lacana? How's it going, buddy? So it looks like all they did was add the schedule saying, but what is this cron? Is that at 3 o'clock? So cron tab guru. Mac will cry like a baby. I'm learning a lot of really mean stuff. Sorry, I dump on chat. You're fine, dude. Just don't, just don't be mean. That's all. As long as you're, just venting and not, venting at people. I think that's all that matters. Okay, so this is at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Yeah, I like this. Okay. Nice. All right, let's give this a GIF. It needs a GIF. Can we give it a GIF? I want to give it a GIF. Let me give it a GIF. All right. GIF? Dang it. Okay. Let's go to Giphy. We need to give this a GIF. I need to give it a nice GIF. I love open source. I've missed doing stuff in open source. Nice. Didn't even work. Embed. Just give me the GIF link. Thank you. Jeez. Okay. Let's say, how do you do images? Image markdown. I need to catch up on my markdownage. Okay, so it's alt text and then a title. Okay, so let's do this. We'll say nice. Nice. Oh, dang it. Didn't do it. What did I miss? A title. What? I did do that. Nice. Oh, I think I need this in front of it. Nice. Okay. Awesome. This is great. This is great. Thank you. Thank you, Noati. I appreciate that. Comment. Okay, so this is going to set this up so that the nightly job cool, and I'll close this as well. Schedule 3. Okay, cool. So let's do this. Let's say squash and merge. Shabam. And then we should have speed up, release. Okay, let's look at this one really quickly. Set log level to normal. 348 PowerShell normal. Okay. So this is probably building some stuff right now. Let's go see. Yeah, here we go. That's right. We use actions. Oh, there's a lot of, I hope all these, look at all these language servers we support, dude. Let's go. Dang, I didn't realize we had these many language servers that we support. This is like a full-on project. Oh, I'm embarrassed. This is, it's just the project I started. That's a lot more than I remembered. That's cool. Nice. Okay, so this is going to update the release version for what? PowerShell, right? PowerShell, yeah. Okay. Okay, this looks good. Is there a limit to how many actions you can have running for free? I think obviously all of these, I don't think all of these actually started at the same time. I think there was a limit. I do not know what the open source stuff is, but this is all open source. So we're using the open source, limits, I guess. I think we are. Cool. Okay. So all of that got merged. This looks good. Thank you. Log level to normal. Let me just make sure yep, diagnostic. LSP containers. 348. Okay. Squash and merge. Thank you. What does it say? So for free, 20 concurrent jobs and 5 concurrent macOS jobs. There you go. Well, I appreciate you not doing that. Cool. Okay. So upgrade Lua. Let's get the Lua one in here as well. The version was very old. I'm moving this to testing for now. Do you have any service? However, different results. Some inferred. Nothing major though. Okay. I think we can add this as well. Yeah, this was like a complete rebuild. You're fine. You're fine. I almost never use GitHub Actions. It's probably the best thing to do when you're doing open source work. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to merge this. GitHub is Reels open source. I don't know. I don't know if I'd say that. It's just where everyone is. So this was for that, right? And then he updated this to 3.5. So this is 3.3. I think we can kick this. We can merge this one for now once we feel confident. We'll update to that later. I've gone ahead and actually...
Hello there.
I've gone ahead and actually merged 79 over this to get the latest version out. Now we can iterate over this to improve to improve what we need. Thank you for the PR or for the changes. I'm actually going to say due to my delay on this, I've gone ahead and actually merged over or to get the latest version out now. We can iterate over this. Thank you for the changes. Cool. So I'm going to close and comment that. Okay. So we need to speed up that. Use Rust Analyzer from the Alpine repo and add Jedi Language Server. All right, Scotty. We'll see you soon, buddy. I have Jenkins instance planning to switch to GitLab. GitLab, I mean, so I don't know. Are we about to really go down the CI talk route? Is that what we're about to do? Love GitHub for its marketplace. Really awesome stuff. Yeah, I mean, the marketplace is cool. I will say, like, if you're looking for like off the shelf solutions, the marketplace can be pretty cool. Yeah. I don't use anything off of the marketplace, but that's just because I build a lot of my own stuff. Yeah. GitHub Actions, so it has saved us with doing the research. Yeah, I mean, again, I think if you're doing open source stuff, it's probably the best idea just to go with GitHub Actions because it's free for starters, or, you know, they provide a free option. And yeah, just run. I mean, I don't know. It's not. GitHub Actions is not by any means the greatest of experiences. I do not like the user interface. I cannot believe they still have this as their interface. Like, and this is even slightly, just slightly better than it was before. Like, I don't know. Where have you gotten with serverless front ends or not working on that today? So I did talk about this earlier in the stream, No Hot Seat, actually, before you got here. I'm basically just taking a stop from it because I had a talk with somebody at work, and we want to evaluate some of this over some actual front ends that we have versus like just having POCs. Like we know the POC works and it looks good and we like how everything looks basically outside of some small things that we want to assess. Like, you know, do we want a proxy for the private connections? Do we want to make it, you know, just completely public like everything else and lean on the same infrastructure everywhere? Stuff like that. So yeah. It's more of just like last stages of evaluation now is I guess what I'm trying to say. So okay, if you guys are curious on my like Circle CI or not Circle CI, my like CI, I guess, options or opinions, I do actually have a wiki article on this. So if you go to the wiki and you search Circle or Circle CI or whatever, and I'll find you the link. Are you searching? Did you break your keyboard in half? Yeah. Smashed my head straight through it. That's interesting. There it is. I don't know why that took so long. But anywho, I actually do have a VOD where I talk about all of this. And I do kind of go over each of the ones that I've evaluated. So I've evaluated Concourse, Drone, Flow, Buddy, Circle, GitHub Actions, and, you know, GitLab as well. The thing or the reason why GitLab is not in this is because GitLab is like a complete solution, whereas I was focused on just finding something that was like focused on CI/CD and stuff like that, not also repositories and other things like that. So that's the only reason why GitLab isn't in there. But it is a good solution. So I recommend taking a look at that VOD and that wiki article if you're interested. What about Jenkins? No. Jenkins can just die. That's fine with me. I don't like Jenkins.
Hello there.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, never, ever. Yeah. I know that Jenkins has improved and like it's just like we've built better things since then. Just time to move on. That's just my personal opinion on that. All right, so here's what we need to do, chat. This is going some Nico Lua 331. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Git branch A. I want to look at all my branches. Okay, so I'm just gonna delete this and I'm gonna reclone the Docker files repository. Mostly because I want to make sure that I'm like on the right branches and stuff like that. So we're gonna do git clone bear, and then I'm gonna do that. There we go. WT add main. Fantastic. Okay. Cool. Okay. So I need to figure out a way that I can keep my Nix environment, right? Because I develop with Nix. I'm a Nix user. But also test LSP containers changes. Do you utilize Circle CI orbs at Hippo? We do, yes. So our kind of like standardization that I've imposed at Hippo with regards to orbs is we don't build our own orbs. I have no desire of managing like, you know, a version of something else. So a lot of the orbs that we focus on are other people's orbs, right? Things that we like, basically we use orbs exclusively for not having to write code, right? And then when we need to add like, you know, some type of code, we have it in our build template system essentially. And so it just gets copied to all the repositories whenever that change is made. So like we don't really have a massive need for orbs because our template system allows us to put it in, you know, all the repos we want it to be in. However, if there's just like stuff we don't want to write, then we use orbs. Yeah. So is there a way to run Docker on my Windows laptop without taking 4 gigs of RAM? I don't think so. I don't know. Windows and Docker still is like pretty tough, man. It's unfortunate, but it is true. It's still pretty tough. Yeah, I don't know. Because you need a VM at the end of the day, right? Like you need a VM at the end of the day to run Docker on Windows. You even need a VM technically to run, Docker on Mac. The only thing Docker runs natively on is Linux. So Docker Desktop, well, yeah, but Docker Desktop is a virtual machine. That's what we're trying to say, SB Souls, is can you run it without needing a virtual machine? And you do. You do need it on that. I want Vim on my iPad. Just get a terminal emulator and SSH into a virtual machine. Just use a Linux VM. You'll have a better time. Hey, you guys said it, not me. I mean, chat. Windows. How did I solve my problem? VM. So yeah, that's my recommendation of doing it, of the way of doing that. Chat, I need to figure out how I want to do this. So we need a way of, okay, I guess for starters, we need a way of testing a language server based off of its configuration. So we have like all of these servers here, right? But we need a way of saying like, okay, I want to open up Neovim with this specific configuration. And when I open it, I want that configuration to load like the language server. So it's almost kind of like what we need in a way is like, we need like a default Neovim environment, right? So I'm just going to create like a test directory here for right now. And then I'm going to create a file. And I'm just, let's just kind of like spitball here. Can somebody let me sit down for the, please let me sit. Actually, let me sit, and then I need to go to the bathroom really quickly. I'm gonna show you guys how I solve problem. No? You know what? You Whisper. Ha! See, somebody in chat was nice enough to redeem their points and let BG sit. And you know what? Look, you know what? Pessimist Tech is now getting all this attention because they redeemed it, and you didn't. And you didn't. I'm not even gonna say your name. Look at that. See, if you put in 5,000 points, I would have said your name. How dare you say no? I'm just kidding, Whisper. I love you. Oh man, you gotta say my name. I said say my name. All right, we'll do a monkey type. Code monkey. I don't even know if I'm saying your name right. Like, I feel like half of the time I say your guys' name wrong when I even try. There you go. I'm ignorant on this. Is LSP just you have language server compatibility without the need to install language servers themselves? Yeah, LSP accent, Jesus. I read your message, Muslim, or I was looking at your message while I was thinking, and my brain just like short-circuited. crossed wires there. So again, LSP Containers is the concept of a plugin that sits and works with LSP config to, instead of running a process directly installed on your computer, right? It executes a container that has a pre-built language server image that can then run what you need, right? And so that's basically what LSP Containers is it's the Neovim editor using an extension, or again, plugin, to start a language server client And when that language server client is started, a container is actually created and attached to the, and as a matter of fact, this probably looks better if we do it like this, where it's got an arrow both ways, because now what happens is this is attached. We could say attach here, right? Because this becomes attached to the editor while you make keystrokes. So whenever you're like, you know, typing or editing in any sense, this sends data to the LSP container, or the language server technically, and then the language server sends that data back to the client, which then goes back to Neovim. And that's like, we solved the problem of having to install the language server. You could have a minimal.vim. Okay. Give me 60 seconds, chat. Give me 60 seconds. I just need to go to the bathroom really quickly, and then we're gonna hop into this. And I'm gonna show you guys how I would break this down. Now I will say the like no plugin, like basically passing a Vim file to it. I did not know you could do that. So that's a good call out. I appreciate that. That's gonna help me with the design. So feel free to share stuff like that. Let me go pee real quick though. Is that an Ergo Docs? Yeah, it is. I'm not gonna give you guys an ad too. I hate ads, dude. I hate that we have to run ads on this platform. Give me one. So here's the deal. I'm gonna be completely candid. I have no idea how we're gonna do this. Okay. Now, again, you guys feel free to throw in suggestions and stuff like that as we go. But we are basically going to, while we're doing this, sorry, almost coughed there. We're going to figure out how we're going to design this as well. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new, oh, come on. Yeah, there we go. That's the one we want. We're going to create a new flow chart, and we're going to call this flow chart testing for now. Sure, whatever. Now, we need to talk about what we need, right? If we go back here and we look at like how this all works, right? We have source code of some sort, right? That interacts with Neovim. And as a matter of fact, we could probably even copy some of this and kind of like reuse it. But we have Neovim, which uses source code to then activate an extension, and then that uses the language server client to then create a container, right? So that means that in some shape or form, we're going to need, and like here, we can even kind of close this out for now, or if we wanted to, actually here, we could do this. This will be fun. Let's do this, boop. And then we'll say here, let's just make like a scratch pad, right? What do we need, right? Well, we're gonna need a Neovim config of some sort. Actually here, why don't I do this? Why don't I actually make this file? New file, we'll call this tdd.md for now, whatever. And then we'll say, what do we need? So we're gonna need a Neovim configuration, right? But before that, we're actually going to need a example file, right? And this is going to be for the specific extension that we have to load, right? Because that's where everything kind of starts, is Neovim has to load a file that corresponds with the configuration of the language server for that. So for example, in this case, and if we wanted to do an example here, we could say like the file we can use is, what language should we use, chat? Should we we'll use Rust. We'll use Rust for now. Something hopefully simple. And then that would mean that we would need a language server configuration for Rust, right? For Rust. And then this would be our main.rs, I guess, right? Or some kind of example file for Rust. Okay, so we're going to need an example file of some sort. We're also going to need a Neovim configuration of some sort. And then we're also going to need Neovim itself, right? Like we're actually going to need to be able to load the configuration, right? And create containers. We're going to need to be able to do both of those things wherever we're doing this. Podman pods. We do have Podman support as well. Yeah, there's Podman support. I have no idea if this is the most optimal way, but this is how I did it when having to interact with an LSP server. Oh, okay. What is this? Let's move you over here. Here you go, chat. Building snapshot using builder, nvim lua, test project.java, no plugin, scripts minimal vim, and then you set a bunch of stuff. Okay. Yeah. We can use that as an example. I appreciate that. And I think the main point of this that's going to be helpful to me is probably going to be just injecting the configuration. Does the Moonlander have an option for a trackball? Yes and no. So do you want me to show you how that works? So here, we'll go to keyboard. Technically, the Moonlander has a trackball built into it. You just have to set it up yourself. And I can actually do it really quickly for you. So if I go here, I do this, sign in, modifier, let's see here, hold, this will go to 1. So which feels most comfortable to me? Probably going to 1. Okay, so if we do this, I can actually modify this. Again, this is why I love the Moonlander. And then, yeah. So J can now on tap, mouse, move left. Right, and actually, if I wanted to actually stay with HJKL, right, then I could do, what is it, H is left. So technically, here, we could do this. This is probably better anyways, just for muscle memory. So mouse left. What is it? Is it, I can't remember HJKL. I just do it with muscle memory. So yeah, J's down, K is up, and then, yeah, left and right. Okay, so down, up, down, up. It took me forever to learn that. The separation, like flipping it basically. So this is down. So if I do tap, mouse, mouse, down, right? And then tapped, mouse, up, and then mouse, move right. There we go. And so now basically I could have HJKL in mouse form on my my keyboard. And not only that, but if I wanted to, I could even say like, okay, and then like mouse click is, I don't know, like F or something like that. I'm not going to apply this right now because I would want to think about it a bit more before I did that. But that's basically like what you can do with the Moonlander as well. So to answer your question, it does not have a trackball built into it technically, but you can turn the keys into like kind of a trackball, and you can use the mouse with it. Yeah. It's a cool. I like the keyboard. What's up, Neochromer? How's it going, buddy? Okay, cool. So yeah, so we're gonna need a we're gonna need a test file of some sort. We're gonna need a language server. All right. So I think like at this point, it just, there's not enough here to where I'm like, oh, there's so much to do. So let's try just setting this up. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new file. We said we were gonna do Rust, right? Yeah. What's up, LMND? How's it going, buddy? Arch, actually, this is Nix, my friend. I'm using Nix now. I'm using JKLH on Colmac. Oh, interesting. I know a few people who use that, who use Colmac. Yeah. Cargo metadata, could not find cargo toml. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. Is we're going to have actually example files where it might also be like a cargo.toml, right? Rust. And so this maybe be like Rust extras, right? So we know no matter what, we're going to need like a main file, right? And so we can call this like our main test file, right? And then this might be like our test file extras, like things that we actually need. Yeah, so basically anyone just tuning in, first part of the stream, we talked about the recent work we've been doing on deploying front ends to CDNs and the work I've been working or doing around that. If you're interested in that, you can check out the first part of the stream. The second part of the stream, which is basically what we're doing right now, I manage a plugin, actually not just me, but me and the community, or the community and I should say, manage a plugin called LSP Containers. And LSP Containers is basically what you see here. It's a plugin for Neovim that when you open up source code for a specific language, right? It then fires a extension, essentially an extension works with Neovim that fires a language server client for that file. And then when that happens, in a normal scenario, it just starts a process, of the language server that's installed on your computer. With LSP Containers, if you have Docker, Podman, Nix in the future, whatever we support, any kind of portable way of moving these language servers around, then you can lean on that. And so that's what LSP Containers does, is it basically starts a container of what you would have to install yourself manually, and it can pull down that image and stuff. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to, because I use Nix, I don't actually even use LSP Containers directly myself anymore, though I still want to contribute to the project because I like the project. I need a way of doing it to where it doesn't impact my own development workflow, right? Like I don't want to change my Neovim editor per se to set up and test this, because it's like editor testing, right? And so that's basically the goal here is we're kind of saying like, okay, what is the need of the language server to accurately set up a Neovim editor that would start a container, then we could test to see if it's running, right? Stuff like that. So that's kind of the idea, is what we're trying to do right now. Do you use Go in your daily life as a DevOps guy? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I use it quite a bit. As a matter of fact, you just made me realize I need to look at my Slack chat. One second. I might have to go to a meeting in 30 minutes, but we'll see. Sorry. But yes, I do use Go daily. Yeah. I asked because I have a new job and I'm dev, and they put me on a DevOps heavy project for now. We're doing concepts and architecture dev for 7 years. Total noob or anything else. Question is, how do I learn that stuff? What is scalable? What is not? Where can I use Go to help me? All right, buddy. Have a good one. Good to see you, bud. So Neochromer, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Those are a lot of questions that I can't really answer because I don't know your infrastructure, your services, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so that it does make a little tough. Don't get me wrong. It does make that a little tough. I just realized I kind of want to do something else here too. However, with that being said, I think a good way of thinking about it is trying to take it as step by step as you possibly can. I don't do everything at once at Hippo, right? Like I spent a solid probably 4 months just refactoring and improving our pipelines, right? To get it to where it is now. Same thing for like, any project. Like I've been working on this front end project for almost, a month now, maybe like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So I think it's important to note that like none of this stuff comes quickly and you're not going to get all the answers right away. You're going to try some things, they're going to work or they're going to fail. And then you're going to, you're going to find out which ones do and which ones don't. Hang on one second. That is actually DevOps, and you just get better at predicting that stuff with the more experience that you have. So yeah, like I think, focusing on, like you said, like looking at how things work and how can we build infrastructure that supports those things, but also supports the needs of our company? Like, those are the questions you need to be asking yourself. And honestly, like, and I like, I recommend this to anybody, like, just ask questions more, more focused on like what you're trying to solve, right? Like, oh, okay, like, how would we containerize this? Do we want to containerize this? Or how do we want to package this? Like, take it step by step, right? Technical documents are also very important. Sit down, write a technical document for a problem that you're trying to solve. Look at a problem and say like, okay, how do we currently deploy? How do we want to, and just focus on deployment. Okay, this is how we deploy things. Great, we have that done now. Okay, where do we want to deploy, right? Like, and you can separate them. And if you separate them, then it means you can potentially deploy to more places and have more of a global standardization. So yeah, it's a lot. Don't feel like it's not, but it is better to take it step by step, I think. So one thing I'm also kind of like thinking about here is we have yeah, of course. Yeah, I think like exactly. Yeah, and like if anybody says like we need to get into Amazon in 2 weeks, just tell them they're like it's just that's too ridiculous to think. You know what I mean? Like that's just that's not going to happen. It's got to be the organization needs to know that this needs to be a slow process because it affects so many people and they need to be able to appreciate that. Okay, so the first thing I'm trying to kind of think of here, honestly, is just like how I want to structure this in a way that it makes sense, right? So for example, the Docker files have all of the builds, right? And they actually like create the containers and stuff like that. But the but LSP Containers itself is, the plugin that runs those containers. And so we kind of want to test this in a way where like here in Docker files, we're actually like, and here we could say, if we add a little bit more context to this, we could say like, Docker files. And in the Docker files repository, I would say like, we want to use the, the latest version of LSP containers.nvim as a plugin, right? And then try and lean on that versus like in LSP containers, .nvim itself, where we would potentially, use the actual source code of the repository, right? Because we want to make sure that in Docker files, we're not actually caring about the plugins code, right? We're just trying to make sure that like when we build something, and like this is something that eventually will go into CI as well, I think, where we'll say like, okay, each one of these Docker files is going to run LSP containers, right? And then it's going to test its specific language server. And then LSP containers will have some way of testing the actual plugin itself. Excuse me. Okay. So I think if that's the case, then I think it makes more sense for us to have our test files actually with the Docker file itself for testing. So for example, if we were going to do Rust, then we'd be like new dir, and we'll say like test, I guess, maybe for now. And then in here, we could say main.rs, cargo.toml. I guess another question is, do we want to have a Neovim configuration per thing, right? And so the idea here is if we say like, all right, we need another file, we're also going to need a init dot either Lua or init dot nvim or init dot vim or whatever. But we are going to need something to load the configure. Like basically these files here, outside of the cargo file, which is just really more for Rust itself. These two files here are really what we need to at least kind of start an existing Neovim the way that we want to. Okay. So what is the bare bones, I guess, that is required for us to get LSP containers because like we don't really want to have to lean on a plugin installer. So I guess what I'm trying to say, chat, is we need Neovim, right? We have Neovim, or we know we can at least install Neovim somehow. But we need a way of within Neovim having a version of LSP containers that we already declare. There's a solid chance we probably need to make a Docker file here. So let's go back here. Let's go here. So this is the Docker file itself, right? What we might want to do, right, is actually say from... Actually, we'll go up here. We'll say as base, right? We'll say from base as test, right? Now what we actually have is we have the Docker file, but we also have our build with the binary of the Rust analyzer in it. This gets us a step closer of what we need because we're going to need Neovim to also have that Rust, what's it called? That Rust binary or Rust analyzer binary with it. So I think what we might want to do now is install Neovim. So let's do that. So this is running Alpine, so Alpine Neovim install. Now I'm not going to worry about like getting the latest version or whatever. I'm just going to worry about getting it installed, right? We'll do stable for Alpine. That's fine. So Linux, Arch, Debian. I would imagine it's just like Neovim. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so run apk add no cache, right? Neovim. Now, actually, what I think I'd rather do here is do from Alpine 315, right? And what we'll do is we'll copy the build objects, or basically the final stuff, from this what's it called? Jeez, I'm like blanking right now. This stage. So for example, we'll still probably need bash again, right? We won't need GCC, we won't need curl, but I guess we won't really need bash. We can just easily do it with Neovim. Okay, so let's do that. So now what I'm going to do is I actually have, or we have a really nice way of building images where I can just say like docker compose build Rust analyzer. And there we go. It should build that for me. Okay, so that built the Rust analyzer with Neovim. Oh, but you know what? I can't do that because I need the test stage. That's interesting. So I can't lean on that for this. Okay, so that's a note I need to make, which is can't rely on Docker Compose for building test images. Or if we do, we have to add a lot of other things to Docker Compose. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm just going to go here and we're going to do it ourselves manually. So we're going to say docker build. We're going to get rid of all of that. Let's get rid of this for right now. And we're going to say LSP containers, Rust analyzer, test base, because this is the base stage that we want to build. We're going to say base. Cool. Cool. All right. So we have our base image, and if I do Docker image ls, we should. Oh yeah, look at this. Oh my god, it is a very large image. Oh, I just did one. Oh, is it really already? Okay, hold on. We'll do another one really quickly. Oh, geez. Oh, no. Oh, I messed that up. All right, we got to do it again. Dang it. Why do you want me to? Oh, because I'm on my... Oh, dang it. I was on the wrong key layer. That is my fault. Try it again. Oh my gosh, what are these words that it's giving me? Ah, this is not a good one. I can feel it already. Yeah, 80. That was not as good. I mean, again, my accuracy is always pretty good, but the speed is still needed to improve. I'm also just like, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, I just got like dumb brained all of a sudden. I'm not like fully thinking well right now. Okay, so we have our base image, right, which is our main Docker file. Let's try doing tests. So we're going to say as test. Oh gosh, did I really just do test? Okay, whatever. For now, it's fine. Docker image ls. Okay, so test. Look at this, 22 megabytes. Okay, so let's do this. Docker container run rm. Boom. Oh wait, no. LSP containers, not Lua language server, but Rust analyzer, test, right? And let's just do Neovim. Let's see what happens. Neovim. Oh, sorry, not Neovim, nvim. Okay, so that's interesting. So it did try opening it, but then it failed because it doesn't know how to handle it entirely. So let's do a couple other things. Let's do interactive, right? And then let's also open up a TTY. So TTY. This should work. Bam. Okay. So I am now in the container, right? Baker. What's up, Tyler? How's it going? Sorry, I don't know what that means. I am now in Neovim inside of the container, right? So that's cool. That's pretty good. Let's go here. So we have test, cargo, init, and main, right? So let's say like, all right, now what I want to do is I want to copy test main.rs, and then we're also going to create a working directory. So we're going to say work dir user source app for now, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to copy main.rs to that location. And the reason why is because I want to be able to do this next thing, which is we're going to build this really quickly. We're going to try running our container again, but I want to do nvim main.rs. Cool. So now what I want to do is I actually want to nvim here main.rs. Oh, that's right. I'm not actually in the directory. Sorry. Main.rs. Oh, let's do this. I should probably like actually initialize this properly. So, delete this for right now. Here, we'll just delete this. Cargo init test. Oh, yes. Test cannot be used as a package name. Okay, so let's say nvim test for now. Sure. Cool. Okay. So now we've set up a very simple Yep. And then let's go here. Hello world. Cool. Okay. So let's go back here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say test star essentially to here. And then run ls-alh because I don't remember if that's going to work exactly or not. But hopefully that will put all of the files. Oh, it's not test anymore, right? It's nvim test. That's right. So let's say nvim test like that. And then let's build one more time. Is that going to work? Oh, dang it. I think that worked. Let's try it. So now let's go back to our run. Hey, nice. So we can basically, we know that we can somehow, using the Docker file, right, create ourselves a Neovim environment, right? Now, I will say, like, this part, like this stuff here, maybe we make into like a base image, right? However, it is a little interesting because it means that we're going to have to add our tests to our Docker file, which isn't bad, but it does mean that what might end up happening is like we'll have, again, like our base image and then our final output, right? So what we would probably do is we would probably take these last steps here, like the entry point steps, right? And then we'd move them to a final stage as well. Oops, what is it? FG. There we go. We'd move that to a final stage as well. The main end result is we're just trying to figure it out. Like, I'm trying to work around figuring out what's a good standardized way that not only, again, myself, but also people who are developing on LSP containers, run tests of changes without necessarily being worried of, they have to change their environments or stuff like that. And so, like, that's why, like, this idea of kind of saying, like, all right, we'll build an image that is a test image that I can actually run, like, nvim main rs, right? And then that will literally have, the files it needs in the container, everything else. It also could mean that we don't even do it that way, right? But we pre-make, and this might even be a better idea now that I think about it. We might want to create a pre-built Neovim image that allows, and I think this is probably the better approach, allows for injectable configurations and files, right? So what we could do as well, if we wanted, is we could say, like, all right, well, you know what? We're actually not going to put these in individual files, right? But we're going to say, like, let's do, I guess maybe do this in a directory. So like test and then like file Docker file, right? And the reason why we would do another Docker file in there is because what we can do, right, is just we can have or if we wanted to, we could just say, actually, this would probably be a better way of doing it. Move this up and then say test.docker file, right? Because this is the test Docker file. And then basically we would just say, all right, well, whatever we had in the Rust one, Rust, this part, right? This becomes just a very, very reusable image that we can then say, like, okay, we're going to mount the configuration to a specific path, and then we're going to mount the source code to a specific path, and then we know that when we run a command, right? So like if I wanted to build this, I could probably build this pretty quickly if I really tried. The only thing is okay, yeah. Actually, this is a solid possibility. Yeah, I could probably build this pretty quickly. Hang on. So here's what I'm thinking, chat. Let's do this. System, let's prune all really quickly. Yo, what's up, Hayden? How's it going, buddy? Build, right? We're not going to tag this as this. Well, we're going to tag this as Neovim test, right? Because this is going to be our Neovim test image essentially, right? Or we could say Neovim stable, right? Dude, Hayden, thank you for the 29 months, man. Thank you. Could replace NNN plus toggle term. I will take a look at that. I don't know. Do you have a link? Because that just broke. There we go. Okay. I'll look at that later. Got it. Dude, thank you for the 29 months, bro. That's so long. Thank you so much, man. How are you doing, by the way? So we'll say file test.docker file, because that's the actual file we want to use, and the tag is going to be Neovim stable. So let's do this really quickly. It's going to install Neovim for us. Boom. Cool. So here's the fun part, which is by default, if I do docker image ls, right, Neovim uses the user's directory to run Neovim's configuration. So for example, if I was to say like copy init.lua to /root.config/nvim/init.lua, then my configuration for Neovim should load here. So ideally, what we should be able to do is we should be able to say like, okay, well, I'm in user source app, right? But I have a path that my init.vim needs to go to. So let's do this. So let's say like docker container run. We'll do all the interactive stuff that we know we needed before, right? We're going to get rid of this and we're just going to say Neovim stable, right? Because that's LSP containers Neovim stable, right? And if we do nvim by itself, it gives us no file because we haven't opened anything, right? The idea, and I guess what I can do is I can kind of like copy this and kind of put this over here as an example for the, the documentation purposes. But basically the idea is that I want to be able to run the container, right? Run this like pre-build. And honestly, what even might be cooler too is like, if there's a better like Neovim image somewhere, we might be able to just use that instead, but we can use ours for now. And right after TTY, we're going to say volume. Is it volume or is it volumes? I can never remember. Docker container volume, help. Docker container run help. Volume, singular. Okay. So volume, right? And we're basically going to want to mount two different volumes. The first one is going to be the init dot, Lua or whatever, and that's going to need to go to /root for now config nvim init.lua, right? So that's going to have to go to that. That's our first volume. And then our second volume is our source code, right? And so that needs to go to I guess like test, right? Or test source, I guess. And then we're using /user source app, right? So if we ran this container and we had a valid init.lua, then this should work. This is ZSH. So to give this a shot, right? We have an init.lua, so we're gonna go back to the Rust analyzer really quickly, right? I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna do cargo init one more time. We're gonna call this test source, right? That's the folder we want to mount. And then we will do touch init.lua for right now, right? So I'm going to do docker container run interactive, blah, 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 right? We're going to go back here, volume test. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Init.lua, right? Because it's the current, as a matter of fact, that might be a better way of doing it. Init.lua to /root config nvim init.lua. And then the second one is going to be volume test source, which again, we should probably put the thing so it's like knows it's not a named volume. User source app. Now, I don't have anything in the init.lua, so me loading an empty init.lua is not going to do anything. But if I do nvim main.rs, okay, includes valid character. Okay, so what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to put a pwd. So we're just going to replace this with print working directory. And we're going to do the same thing here. Print working directory, there. Okay, so there's nothing in that. So maybe, oh, that's right, because it's source main.rs, right? Hey, there we go. Okay, cool. So let me help you understand what's going on here, right?
Hello
Basically, there. What we've kind of set up for testing, right? And I'm going to just like push this over to the side for the second, is we have a directory. This will be our directory. And this is our like, this is our Rust analyzer directory, right? In this directory, we have, again, some of these things that we need. We have some test source code, and we'll say test source code, right? And we also have a test nvim or test neovim configuration, right? And these will be the things that every language server will need in order to appropriately test it, which is not, you know, too unfair, I guess is a better way of like looking at it. Like, I don't think that's too terrible to say that essentially, you know, you're going to need some type of test source code that you know works, and you're going to need a configuration that uses, you know, LSP containers, right? So in Rust Analyzer, we have this. However, we also have an image, right? Or actually, here we'll do this. We'll grab this. We have a container that we can run, and this container is our LSP containers nvim or neovim, you know, stable container. And so in this container, we have neovim, right? So we'll put neovim in here, right? And so what happens is in this container, we worry about setting up neovim, right? And then what we do is we say, all right, LSP containers is going to mount maybe this directory. So again, maybe we can make it something as simple as standardized to a directory where we say like mount the language server directory, and then it just has these things in it. But basically what happens is we start neovim that's inside of the container, and then we mount the test source code and the test neovim configuration in it, right? And so what happens is we're then able to take the next step, which is our LSP or our neovim needs to then start another container, which is our LSP containers / Rust analyzer latest. There we go. Now, this does mean that Neovim is going to need access to Docker with inside of the container. If you were just curious if that was like something where you were like, okay, how's that container going to start? Yes. So it does mean that this container here is also going to need to mount the Docker socket and have Docker installed in it as well, right? And so that's why this kind of becomes more of like a custom test image for us, because we're going to, and I'm just going to put like, you know, to do here, add, we need to add Docker, CLI, I guess is whatever it is, but we basically need to add Docker in Docker support, right? And so once we add that, then what'll happen is the LSP containers Neovim, you know, test image, right, will use the language servers folder to mount the test code and the Neovim configuration, right? And then after it does that, Neovim will load with those files, right, and attempt to start a container itself. And if it starts, then we can, you know, we can say, okay, that seems like that's working. I think that's a good step. Like, I think that's a solid first step to what we need. There's going to be a few things we're going to need to standardize. Like I said, I think what makes a lot of sense is if we go back into servers and we go to Rust Analyzer, right? We've got like test source and then init.lua. But I almost feel like I don't know if I want these files next to each other like this. You know what I mean? Versus maybe having everything in a test directory and having the init.lua in that. However, I guess another way we could launch this container, like let's try launching this container one more time. I'm going to mess with the paths a little bit. So instead of saying print working directory init.lua, right, I'm actually going to go up a directory to the main directory where like servers are. And we're going to say print working directory init.lua, right? And then we'll say servers Rust Analyzer, right? And this is just going to do the user source app. So user source app. And we're going to get rid of the second volume entirely. We don't need it, right? So the idea here is that if I split this window, go to LSP containers really quickly, Docker files main, we're going to mount servers, Rust Analyzer, the full path itself. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lean on the command that was shared in chat to use. Is it -u? Is that to provide here? Where did I put that? Here it is. Okay. So they load a file and then they do no plugin -u scripts minimal nvim. Okay. So let's do the same thing. And now what this should see, basically what this allows us to see is can we standardize it to where when we run these test containers, we just mount the LSP folder itself. Like that's it. You know what I mean? And then it's the same path every time, right? So it'd be nvim. What is this again? It's, shoot, I lost it. Wait, did I really just lose that? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. So -- no plugin -u. And then for us, this is going to be user source app / init.lua. Boom. Okay, so that, well, actually, no boom, because I didn't do exactly what we wanted. So this would be test source. There it is. Okay. So we're going to need to figure out how like we load files, I guess. Like we're going to need to make sure the paths are kind of dynamic, I guess. So what we're going to need to say here is if we go back to our little document we're working on, now we're going to say that it's going to actually load the server's language server, right? And then that's going to go to user source app like that. And then after Neovim stable, what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, we're going to start nvim, but we said we're going to say no plugins, right? And then we also said -u user. And I actually think because, okay, I want to try one more thing really quickly. I actually think because we're in the working directory, I should just be able to do this. Yeah, okay. So I can just do -u init.lua because it's in that working, like we're in the working directory of user source app. The Docker file knows by default, this is where we should start, and we mount that path into the Docker container, right? So I'm actually, yeah, like this is actually perfect. Okay, so init.lua, right? Or we could even say minimal, right? But for paths examples, okay, I will, yeah. And then we will say the file itself. So test source main.rs, right? And that's basically what we just did. We said Docker container run, interactive, rmtty, volume servers, server name, user source app, LSP containers, Neovim stable. And actually, if we wanted to, like if we wanted to make this just a little bit nicer, we could even say command, right? Nvim. Or if we really wanted to, instead of saying command, we could actually just set the entry point. And that'll mean that like this container is going to basically start as if we're starting Neovim. So now what I can do if I really wanted to is I could go all the way here and I just get rid of nvim and I just do it like that. Oh, wait, no. Wait, what? Exec no plugin. Oh, because, wait. Oh, I didn't rebuild it. Duh. Okay, run. Yeah, there you go. See how now it's like actually just saying Neovim stable, and then I can just pass the parameters directly into it. So yeah, I like this. This is pretty good. So again, now I can do that. We could just say no plugins, or yeah, do it that way, whatever. Are you working on LSP containers? I am. Yeah, I am. Hang on one second though. I need to make sure I don't have a meeting I need to go to. Yeah, still hasn't gotten back to me yet. Are you looking at 87? Well, so what we're doing, Pravan, is we are looking at how we can test LSP containers so that I can look at all of these these issues. One of the challenges that basically happened, and this is fair, is I use Nix now, and so I don't run LSP containers natively anymore. It's one of the reasons why I just haven't been as focused on updating it. But I don't want to be that way because I really do like I love the project. I just need a way of testing it, you know what I mean, in a more portable way, and also so that you can test it, right? And so that's what we're building right now. Is we're building out like our custom Neovim image that'll enable us to like run Docker and kind of do what we're saying. Where we're gonna like mount again. We're gonna mount like the language server folder, and it'll have test source code in it, and again, we'll be able to kind of automate all of this and kind of see like in a way that I can do it at least, you know. How this stuff could work. So, or if we're having any issues with it, I mean, sorry. Cool. Is Nix LSP? No, Nix is an entire like thing. If you're interested in Nix, there's check out the YouTubes and all that stuff that we've got, and yeah, it's more than just, it's not an LSP. It's like a whole. Basically, it's three things. If you're really curious, it's a language, it's a package manager, and it's an operating system. And each of those things work together to give a experience, essentially, of Nix. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. So check it out. I think I'm actually going to call it here. What we would need to do next is really like try and figure out the init.lua, how we're going to load the packages. I think I know how we're going to load the packages. There is a little spoiler that I have, which is, and I'll add it to the Docker file really quickly. So I don't know if you guys know this, but if you go to, I think it's .local share, not Nix, nvim site. Is it share or is it state? Nvims, yeah, state. Nope, that's not it. Where are they? Anyways, there's a folder in your home directory. Actually, it might not be here for me because I use Nix. But in your home directory where you can place the Git repository of a plugin, and it basically does what Packer does, right? And so in the scenario where we want to, because there is another thing we're going to need to do, which is to do install latest LSP containers.nvim plugin, right? We're going to need to figure out some way to install the LSP containers plugin because that's what we want. We want our own nice little testable and Neovim environment in a container. With that, you would need to remove. Yeah. That's what I kind of figured. All right, let me make sure I get rid of that now. That makes sense. And we do need plugins. So yeah. Cool. Okay. So yeah, but we will need to install the latest LSP containers Neovim plugin. And then once we have that, that's when we can actually open up the file and test it out. So this is going to take a little bit of work. Also adding the Docker and Docker support is going to take a little bit of work. So that's why I think it's a pretty good time to stop right here. Guys, I want to say this, dude, this, again, coming back after TwitchCon and just like what all of that was. Thank you again so much for the love and support. It's so good to see all of you. Thank you for hanging out with me this week. Again, we're going to be getting back to our normal routine of things. I know we've been saying that for a while, but as you may have noticed, we changed a couple things. Our logo is different. Our branding, our graphics are different now. It was a big effort. And so it was something we really wanted to do basically before we pushed to YouTube. I've put 3 YouTube videos out, but we've kind of held on some of them because we want them to have new branding. We want them to have like a newer vibe and feel that like we basically, I think, represents us better. So now that we have that, we really want to go back into full force. I'm going to be streaming at least 2 days a week. I'd like to be able to do 3, but I think no matter what, we should be able to at least get 2 streams in a week. And remember, I stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So if you do not know much about our channel, be sure to check out that little blurb right there. Basically, we are a co-hosted stream by myself as well as my good friend Atoda. During the week, you hang out with me Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. is normally when I start. And it's a lot of this. Like I work at a very I don't want to say like high level, but like I work with a lot of things because I work in DevOps and I just have a ton of interests. I'm interested in so many different things. I like working on open source. I like working on hardware. I like working on software. Like I have too many interests, to be honest. That's the best way of putting it. So you get to hang out with me and basically, my experience that I have with all of those things. During the weekends, you get to hang out with Atoda, and Atoda's brand new to programming. He's just starting his programming career. So if you're new to programming, you want to be able to be in an environment that kind of is more focused on that kind of learning and growth, hang out on the weekends. It's a really great stream, and we have a lot of fun. And again, they're very different. And so again, whether you're here for the weekends or the weekdays or both, thank you. Seriously, we appreciate you. We appreciate the love and again, the support. All of our new followers, all of our new friends, thank you for being here. Remember as well, we do have a Discord full of nerds. So if you have any questions, you need help with anything, hop in the Discord, ask your questions. We have mods that are directly there to help you. And if you're also interested in being either in a DevOps focused community, a programming focused community, and Nix focused community, feel free to join the Discord. Outside of that, be sure to check out our YouTube. Like I said, we focused on the rebranding so we could put out all of this new content on our YouTube. There's 3 things that we currently have out right now that kind of really sum a lot of like what I'm interested in: automation, Nix, and then I think another one that'll be coming out here soon, which is more of the conversation around DevOps and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you guys. Seriously, thank you. And yeah, check out our social media. I try and talk on the Twitters every now and then. If you ever want to see me ranting or whatever, feel free to check out Twitter. But yeah, thank you guys. Let me see really quickly if now I actually have a special raid, so don't leave just yet. I actually have a special raid that I want to give. Okay, so listen up, chat. Listen up. This is very special, and I want you guys to stay here, okay? This is important, and help us out with this raid because this person's awesome. If you don't stay through the raid, that's totally fine. We're going to go raid somebody named Lyle Forever. If you guys do not know who this is who we like to call as the Therapy Gecko. We met him at TwitchCon. He is a super, super cool dude. Super sweet guy. We want to go raid him and just go say hi to him, mostly because he also provides the type of content that we love on Twitch, which is just like really interesting, different type of, what we do, kind of like what we do rather than just gaming content. So we're going to go raid Lyle. We're going to go say hi to him. Guys, thank you again so much for hanging out with me today. Please, I have to say, if you guys are interested in very interesting, kooky, kind of fun entertainment, I recommend going through the raid. He's a very, very cool guy. And I feel like most of you guys will probably like the raid. So let's go raid with Lyle. Guys, thank you again so much. Have a very, very rest of your day. A really very good rest of your day. I hope to see you tomorrow, by the way, in a Totus stream too. So yeah, have a good one. See you. Enjoy the raid. Peace out.